Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Get the hole! Go! He's got the touch, Terry. That's now the most birdies he's ever made in the U.S. Open round. Look at that scorecard facts. Incredible. Looks like a zip code. Got it again. This time from the Barranca originally. This is something else, isn't it? Oh. Ricky Fowler makes history at LA Country Club. It is the lowest round we have ever seen at a U.S. Open. Wow. Ricky Fowler's made history. Xander Schauffele has matched him. Not one, but a couple of 62s in the opening round here at Los Angeles Country Club, the two lowest rounds ever at a U.S. Open.
That might be the quietest intro we've ever had on this show.
Yeah, just,
It's some subtle golf claps, some cheers after historic rounds at the U.S. Open.
battling a little different audio.
Battling a new venue.
Yeah, but this place is
Sweet.
It is.
It's different.
This is something from a sports bar standpoint you ordinarily would not see in Omaha.
Well, it's a TV studio inside of a sports bar.
The setup, and you talk to Josh Jones and Severe and those guys that come here and do their shows because we are live at Let It Fly downtown.
Let it fly
In the Capital District,
like the
but
birds in the sky.
This place is immaculate. I make it a habit not to get into people's pockets, right? My barber chastised me. This was probably 25 years ago, late 90s.
How do you go back that far?
Because whenever you're scarred or you learn a lesson,
okay,
I store it in the Rolodex. So I come
it's
back.
a core memory.
So I came back from Charlotte and I wanted a haircut.
Very hurt right now.
And I was like, man, I wish I made enough money to fly out here. To Charlotte. It's hard to find barbers. You're my guy. And back then, I think it was probably 15 or 20 bucks, maybe 15 or 20. So
what it would be like to get a haircut for 15, 20 bucks nowadays.
We're just shooting a breeze. Like, this is my guy, right? And I'm like, man, you cut 20 heads a day. That's $400. We get into tips. You probably work 24 days a week. Yeah. He said, hey, man, get out of my pockets. Like, don't worry about what I'm doing from a business standpoint.
He was really mad?
Yeah.
How do you get mad over that?
He's very principled. He's a lot like Andrew Rogers.
But hey, even if you broke down my stuff, I'd be like, wow, that's something I would do.
So all I was doing was saying how I was joking, right? I was like, oh man, I'd move you out there and pay you, whatever it was, $80K just to be my barber, live good and you can cut other people's hair. And he chastised me for counting his money. So I shied away from it.
What if you were an aspiring
accountant,
stylist, or barber, or whatever? And you wanted to know how much you could take home and balance that. Because this was football career for you?
Yeah.
So you were probably tailing off your football career.
Yeah.
And so maybe you wanted to be a barber. So you just wanted to know what it was like.
Which is funny.
He scolded you.
He thinks I'm really good at what I do, and I wish I could trade places with him because he'll never be able to be replaced.
His job is art. Our job is
he has
art.
He has a skill that people are willing to pay for daily. I want that, right? Isn't that what you want? And so he and I always joke, right? Oh, you're big time. My clients come in here, they love blah blah. I'm like, listen, man, I want to stay gainfully employed regardless of what's going on in the world. You bought a BMW during COVID.
Okay. And then he's like, back in my pockets again.
No, I mess with him all the time. But I'm looking at this place, and I came from a commercial real estate background. It's a small world, but I told you my guy is Jay Noddle, and my first job was running his foundation. And so I understand retail space and square footage. So immediately when I walked in this place, I'm like, I had a number in my head. I thought about location, and I'm like, that is just to be here, let alone the overhead, what's in here. You have
staff.
You have wall-to-wall televisions. The decor is off the charts. The studio back here, the equipment alone here is unbelievable. I'm in a sports bar.
These are cameras, right, Cam? Those probably run you.
Yeah, those are like Netflix quality.
10 grand a piece?
Yes.
10 grand a piece?
Probably, yeah.
Listen,
I don't touch them.
We're looking at 30 grand behind us. Well, more than that.
T-shirts and basketballs in the corner, right? So I should fill in my element, but I feel underdressed.
Well, that's how they pay for the place. It's T-shirts and basketballs over there.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I can't wait to talk to Miller at 9:45, but I mean, this place is unbelievable. And I was going to give Joel a hard time, because he's on his Twitter feed. He was like, man, this Let It Fly is pretty legit. Yeah, whatever. And he was kind of doing the panoramic. I'm guessing he was up there from where he shot the video. He was over here.
Right.
Because it's on his Twitter account. And I started to shoot him a message and make fun of him, but I knew we were going to be here, 10 hours later. So it was like, I felt like a regular, normal person just driving to work with an average distance. I'm like,
right. We are spoiled because we only have to drive about 5 minutes.
I've never been in the car. I haven't been in the car to go to work for 14 minutes in a long time. I mean, a long time. So I just woke up. You can tell my mood. I just woke up cracking jokes, man. I'm trying to be appreciative. This place is fantastic. So make sure you stop on out and come see us.
What do you think?
Actually, don't come see me. Come see Andrew and come see Cam. Because the only good thing about really being here, I see you every day. Plus, I talk to you a ton. I get to see Cam.
Yeah, that is a benefit. You're not seeing Shane today.
I heard Shane. I actually miss Shane already.
Yeah, Shane was giving me a lot of business this morning. So you know what? Shane and I are on bad terms.
It's very, very typical. Whenever we're away or we're on remote, that's when Shane claps.
I go, Shane, I want you to play this audio for me. And he's like, Andrew, the audio sucks. Like, we can't do it. And I'm like, all right, Shane, whatever. I get it. You're the smart guy. I'm just the guy in the chair.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Doesn't this place remind you of like a Vegas sports bar? So when I say that, like where you're at the counter,
I
like
don't
you
know.
place your ticket.
I don't know if you watched. Did you see Uncut Gems? That's what this reminds me of. That's what the music, the TV setup, the sweet deal. I just wanted some ice this morning, and I felt like it was Where's Waldo. Like your boy couldn't even find ice this morning.
Well, because normally you have your routine in the morning at HVC. You know where the ice is located. You know where the club soda is located.
And I'm like, so I couldn't even turn on the deal because it has a.
I still don't know how you drink straight club soda.
We made a mess.
I can't do it.
I said we.
So what was I doing wrong with the spout and dispenser thing?
There's those little nozzles aren't on it.
So I
sprayed everywhere.
So I pressed it and nothing came out. And I'm like, dang, man. I said, I'm
Did you turn the key?
You got to start it up. Yeah.
Okay.
I had no idea. Cam goes, hold on. And he did something. I'm not watching him.
Cam, you should have did something really funny. Like you should have turned the key subtly, but then like banged on it and did like a washing machine.
I had no idea what he did. He goes, hang on. And he's super calm voice. He's like, but I'm still pressing the thing. So apparently he does what you guys just said. He turned the key. Yeah, my hands are still sticky.
Yeah, not great.
When you were walking through the bar afterwards, it was like,
was it club soda?
This is a very scaled down version of ginger ale.
Really?
Dude, I love ginger ale.
Same.
But this is not ginger ale yet. I don't know what they have to do to like make it regular juice.
They have to put the nozzle on.
This is like basically dirty club soda.
Does it taste good?
No.
Oh.
That's why it's still in.
That's why there's still a little bit left.
Well, this is all I could stomach because I had to put the whole thing up next to the shooter thing. So
how tall was this thing?
Oh, it was chest high.
Oh, like,
but the place is
like cheers in the sky.
The place is immaculate. I didn't want to touch anything.
It's a really nice lounge. It's a great place for a group of friends to come and watch the games. I saw the setup yesterday. Not only do the TVs wrap, but they have the big projector screen going too.
How cool are my guys from Precision? They're in here doing some work.
I think they're
this is
putting together the bar up here.
My shameless plug, but He's like, hey, so when you getting started on the broadcast? And I was like, ouch. No, it's okay. It's totally okay, man. And other people gain from other people making moves, and so I said, I'm a spectator.
Sometimes it's cool to be a spectator.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Totally fine. I mean, I gotta be in Kansas City tomorrow.
Yeah, remind me after the show. I got to give you those orange passes.
This is the first Father's Day that I won't be working.
Is that a good thing? I would think so.
Sure.
Spend some time with the family.
Yeah, who are they?
They're your wife.
And,
and your 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, 4 kid.
Yeah.
And then I believe you have 1 dog, 2 dog, maybe a fish tank. Like you have a lot of kids.
Took the dog to the vet yesterday. He has allergies. He was having some eye boogers, some little caquites.
And Molly gets those too.
And so guess what they prescribed?
Flonase.
Close. Zyrtec.
Okay.
For dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, his joints are good, back's good. I can feel his hip bones. He's a perfectly healthy dog. And I was like, Biggie? He is? My man walks around like old man Jenkins. Kind of like the Dodgers offense until Chris Taylor got going last night.
Hey, what was that, the 6th inning?
Yeah, and then
grand slams. That's all we hit.
And he walked it off too. So
yeah, but you win 5-4?
Yes, sir.
How does it feel to win or root for a winning team?
I don't know, but you better figure out what to do with that staff.
I almost wore a Cardinal jersey today, but then I thought I was going to take too much heat by you.
You would.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so I chose not to. But I'll wear a jersey tomorrow when I go to games.
Yeah.
Just because I can, and I won't see you probably. So that's a benefit to that.
Stop.
But also
being an adult wearing jerseys.
I'm always going to wear a jersey. You will never be able to stop me.
I don't understand that. But
you know what? I was sad because I think Caleb at one point either texted me or tweeted at me and said like the same thing. Like, no, adults shouldn't wear jerseys. And I'm like, stop thinking like your dad. Be your own man. Dude, I know you are in 99% of all other things. Join me in this 1% and rally against DB.
Some of those conversational pieces he had with Schaefer, the one that he did before he was with Steve, I was like, oh my God, it's eerie. I got to stop talking to him. He sounds like me. Because you just take it for granted. You just have conversations all the time, right? But yeah, Schaefer had some.
Don't look at that as a bad thing, though.
How about how he just kind of 5-finger lifted me for my Pipeline Jerky t-shirt? He had it on in the video at camp.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, that's not even your t-shirt. But do you know what he told me? You don't like to wear small shirts anyway. It's just a large. I was like, look, bro.
Hey, thanks for letting everybody know that I like 2Xs.
In our coaching chain.
2XLs, not 2X girlfriends.
Hey, in our coaching chain, they laugh at me. They're like, dude, you do not need a 2X. And I'm like, mind your own business, coaches.
Until the cold weather comes through Omaha and you're the one that's swimming in a sweatshirt warm.
But remember, I dress the same in the summer as I do.
Yeah, that's
in late November.
You're weird. You're weird. Well, and you wear shorts. You're like Matt Rule.
Hey, I'd rather be caught with than without.
That way, if I have to get down,
that's like I hop in the drill.
If I got to get in this drill,
he's like, yeah, you in a good mood or what?
You know who seemed like they were in a good mood yesterday?
Who's that?
The Denver Nuggets.
Getting it in.
You in a good mood or what?
Yeah,
what do you think of Mike Malone's drink of choice?
So when he first, do you want the whole instant replay in my head?
Yeah,
so
run it back for me.
When the guy introduced him, he's like, he's doing his thing because he's the PA guy in the arena, so he has that voice. And
so before you go further, was the Nuggets parade small or large? Because if you just watched social media, it looked small, but then it eventually looked large.
Grew. I think they kept picking up steam as they toured the city. The whole fire truck parade thing didn't seem like it was jumping off. When they got to their destination, I was like, oh yeah, they're partying. But full disclosure reenactment, I'm watching the NBA channel and they're doing the intros and stuff, and they have 15 videographers and 27 assistant coaches, and they finally get to Mike Malone, and my man comes up with like the silver herringbone, the flat chain, the dark glasses, and the flat bill. And I was like, oh man, Coach Malone is kind of hood, right? Like then I saw him two-fisted.
Then you saw him take some drinks.
And I was like, truly, this dude is so studio. Those are like studio gangsters, right? Like they accuse Lil Boosie of lately, but that's neither here nor there.
It looks like he has a can of Aquafina in one hand.
Listen,
and that looks like one of those Aloha drinks. That's even worse.
He was chasing Truly with water.
Maybe it's Alana.
So I was like, what is going on? But then I remembered, hey, to each his own. This is a judgment-free zone. Yeah, but he threw me for a loop.
Hey, let me tell you.
Hey.
Just based on what you see here.
Yeah.
What he's drinking, how he's dressed, how he's acting.
I've been drinking.
Do NBA coaches actually do things?
Oh, stop!
Like this is
you're
this
back
is a
to
fan
hating on NBA coaches.
This is a fan holding a clipboard right here.
Wow.
Yep, who's standing on the sidelines and telling Jokic, "Hey, man, just another triple-double tonight." Jamal, let's get a double-double, and MPJ, like you're probably going to sit the bench more than you probably used to.
So, who historically has their story grew legs for just being inebriated during their parade for the Blues?
Brett Hall.
Okay. So there's some iconic hockey guys, right?
Gloria.
Yeah, Hole smashed.
He was smashed, dude.
Jake Gensel smashed. Corey Crawford from the Blackhawks smashed. Right, like J.R. Smith bombed. What do you think Christian Brown blew yesterday?
I bet it was
twos.
I was going to say four times the legal limit.
Who's driving Christian Brown around? I felt funny too, because I was like, "Yeah, I bet your high school coach."
I thought Aaron Gordon was going to be one of those stories that got lost. Like I thought he was going to get out of the car or the bus or whatever, get into the crowd, and then never be found again.
I don't know my Moets. I can't really afford it, but the pink champagne. I'm assuming that was some high priced champagne out of the pink bottle that my man Aaron Gordon was drinking out of.
That thing's wet.
Yeah, it was wet. Double fisting champagne.
Not me. I don't even like champagne.
Oh,
not a fan.
I kind of do. I don't ever buy it though.
If I'm drinking to get drunk, it's not on champagne.
Do we need to get you? Can you just have a drink to not be on one?
Call your friends and let's get drunk.
No.
Oh, not Travis Scott.
But it is funny. Like 30% of your stories when you said you were out drinking, you go, and I was hammered. It's like
I don't do it often.
I'm like, what's wrong with this dude?
I'm 26.
High functioning.
And I wear jerseys.
It's ridiculous.
Right? Good point. Yeah, Christian, like he had to just been smoked.
Who do you think got more smoked after golf yesterday? Ricky Fowler or Xander Schauffele?
I'm
Schauffele. Excuse me.
I'm still mad about that. So my buddy.
No, what are you mad at? Not those two.
My buddy DM me. He goes, hopefully you're smart enough to take your own advice. I go, you think I did? Absolutely not.
We started our golf picks yesterday, and DB. It was before we went to break. He knew it was the last question, and he goes,
"Funny."
He gets up, he throws his headset down, and he goes, "I got to win one of these. I can't keep losing golf." And you overthought it.
You know it's bad when loser Shane goes, "Man, I'm cheering for you. I hope you win, so we're all even, and we can just call it good." I was like,
Shane,
I have the loser cheering for me to win, so we can all break even.
Shane, I gotta tell you, that is not my take.
I did my
buried in the ground.
I did my homework the night before, and Xander he moved up, so I didn't. He wasn't even in the top 3 the day before, so he moved up.
I think I'll take Xander.
I probably would have. He was sitting at number 2, and I didn't even know.
You know what? I should have taken Ricky Fowler, Xander, and Wyndham Clark.
Stop. Because there's only one guy of the 3 that are talking that brought up 2 of the aforementioned, Ricky Fowler and flipping Wyndham Clark.
Well, Wyndham Clark's your boy. And then you convinced me to go away from Cam Young mid-pick, and I chose Cam Smith, and he shot 1 under. I was like, DB, my man.
Listen, I've never cheered so hard for aggregate as I am right now. It's like, okay, where's everybody else?
Yeah, I think I'm 8 under, 2 plus, and 1 under.
Yeah,
so
I am
7
not,
under total.
I am not. But my man has a chance to make some noise as the dark horse, Mr. Tagala.
You still think so?
I mean, maybe.
I love that. That seemed so so bought in. Like, yeah.
Listen.
Back your boy.
Got a long way to go.
Hey, yeah, there's 3 more days as long as you make the cut.
They blistered that course, though.
Did you see Rory try to chip out of the rough?
Yeah.
And it go nowhere?
It was Rory ever so happy as to make bogey on 18. If he would have shot that round and went in double, he probably would have been traumatized. He gets the bogey save putt, and he's like high-fiving his caddy. I'm like,
well, that putt was long, too. It was not an easy putt.
What was that, probably 20-footer? I bet, yeah. Mm-hmm. He knocked that thing dead straight.
Gosh.
Dead is the way
it's all right. Rory won't win. He'll take the L. L for Rory.
I need Brooks to go back to cutting his hair. Right? He let his hair grow over these last.
Do you like his blonde hair? You want him to go back to that?
Like, what is going on?
Does he still have blonde hair? I don't know.
No. Looks like a monster.
Yeah, he went to the Live, made some money, and said, I can afford just for men now.
You know who's significantly bigger is DJ.
Yeah, I still don't vibe with DJ.
Is he just too? My favorite thing about Dustin Johnson is his walk. Is that weird? He is so cool with his gait. I'm like, I want to be that guy. I want to wear flat front.
That's what happens when you marry a Gretzky.
Yeah, I'm not marrying her. She does not. If that's a boat being floated, she would be my Titanic.
Oh, you'd hit the iceberg,
dude. All out. No way she looks like that when she gets up.
You're just keeping it real.
Dude, we're among friends, right?
Taking shots at DJ.
No, I mean, good on him. He can fake fall down some garage steps over some issues, but allegedly, dude, it was 3 steps. I mean, gonna garage you in, bro.
My back.
But listen, he's so cool, right? He's got the little peppery gray, and he just kind of saunters along. I'm like, I want to be DJ when I grow up.
But he's never around ever. And then all of a sudden he emerges.
Dude, he lays
and everybody's like, here's DJ again. Oh, DJ's back. I'm like, I'm not in on that. Dude, stop that. He's
super talented.
He's never up there. He used to be, but he's not anymore.
He's still talented.
I don't doubt that. You bring out any professional golfer, and I could consider them still talented.
Well, I don't know about that.
Bring anybody out there. I'll be like, you probably have won just as much as DJ in this past stint of 3 years.
Did you see Phil getting heckled?
Yeah, that was weird to me.
Why are they hating on Phil?
All he needs is one more win for that GS.
No.
He could be like Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
He could be like Tommy Edman. Only one of them was a winner.
Chris Taylor. I needed that. I was like, are we really going to lose?
He's Mr. Reliable. He's old reliable for you.
Yeah, I like him because he's got the great.
When was it? 2 years ago when the Dodgers and Cardinals played in the wild card game and Taylor was the one that walked it off?
I don't know anything about the Dodgers and the Cardinals in the postseason.
Why? Why is that?
Just haven't had a lot of success.
Yeah,
I mean, recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take the recent thing, but it probably more pain.
Just think back 2 years. Chris Taylor, walk-off bomb. I believe it was the 10th. Maybe it was in the 9th.
Taylor.
Not Taylor Montgomery.
I mean, you should go wash down your Truly with a little Aquafina. Who does that?
Who has a can of Aquafina? That's
who.
I think that's the question we need
publicly
answered.
at their parade is rolling with Truly. Truly in love. No, I don't like Lionel Richie. Cam, it's early, bud.
We'll set up the show. We'll also talk College World Series when we come back. Stick around.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes.
Here's the pitch. High fly ball. The pitch. Swung out and drilled. Deep left. Down the line. Gone. A laser 3-run home run down the left. Here's the pitch.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes.
McCarthy batting for the first time.
A stretch, and he is out. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Here's the pitch. High fly ball to left. And it looks like we've got ourselves a tie game. Chris Taylor with a grand slam. The Dodgers' 8th grand slam of the season, the most in Major League Baseball. And boy, did the Dodgers ever need that one.
Yeah, boy, did the Dodgers ever need that one.
Can I get a call like that in St. Louis? Is that cool?
You got to win.
That's why I'm asking for a call.
Guys, that's up to you guys.
I'm begging for one at this point.
Marmol still got a job?
Did you see that Arenado and Goldie backed him? Like they openly spoke out and backed him.
Yeah,
and I'm
so
I'm like, guys, Goldie, you're probably going to get traded now at the deadline.
Oh,
and,
no.
This is all.
This is fanboy Andrew talking.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm a fan. Okay.
Trade him. Arenado's sticking around. But hey, Luke and Baker. Yeah, he's next in line. We got Luke and Baker, so we're good. We're good. Luke and Baker's just
we're still trailing the Snakes, so that's all you need to know.
Well, we're trailing everybody in the Central.
Yeah, that would
that's
be
all
true.
you need
that
to know.
would be true. Still only 8 out. You're in the cellar and you're 8 out.
Not bad.
No,
not bad.
Not bad at all.
We're talking to Jay Johnson, LSU baseball head coach at 7:45. He'll be in the next segment. You mentioned Mike Schaefer earlier on.
I did.
And he will be with us at 8 o'clock, Nebraska football and recruiting for 24/7 Sports. We are chatting with Matt Verzal, former Husker and Pison's Pizzeria owner at 8:45. Look at this. Where's mine?
Listen, we're just on
What is
it.
that? You got some sausage?
Yeah.
Wait a second. No, you guys can't do that and not give me
does
one.
he know that he's going to be on the show?
What's happening, man? You can't do that to me.
No big deal.
He's not sharing that with me.
I will share my sausage. Look,
I don't want your sausage.
This looks like good stuff.
I want his
Dookie
sausage.
I'll go find a knife and cutting board during the break.
Yeah.
Somewhere down by the ice, I'm sure.
He's such a good dude. How about how he
out of nowhere?
How about how he just strolls on? We're not even open yet.
Well, was it you that were like, "Hey, don't come in yet"? And DB's like,
I thought Cam waved it.
I was like, yeah, come on in,
crazy.
whatever, man, come on in. But he was trying to pull the door. It's a push door. So I'm like, push the door.
"Oh,
push
I thought
the
you were
door.
pushing him out."
Do you not know Cam?
What?
It's a total free for all
With the
around
flow.
Cam.
Yeah, it's just a flow, man.
What just happened? You come? Can I smell that?
Yeah.
That sounds
Kind of weird.
Yeah, but I just want to smell it.
Can we get that?
Yeah, that smells good.
Yeah.
Did you guys like text prior to this?
Well, so I knew he was looking for me. He's like, "Hey, how do I get in?" And I didn't even tell him. I didn't even respond.
You know I work here too. This isn't the first time.
Listen, I feel like we need Craig and Day Day. Where's Top Flight Security when we need one? You can't just mosey on in here, can you?
I love it.
But
I
Cam,
guess so.
Cam gives 2 cares.
Back door's unlocked.
Listen, he was.
Come join us at Let It Fly, right?
You're looking for a donut this morning too? What's
Oh,
wrong with
man,
you?
or chicken, right?
Dude, his Twitter account.
Yeah.
And blame John for sending that. Now I'm all sorts of distracted.
Yeah, I know. We're all over the place. Thanks, JL.
It must be Friday.
We're talking to Eric Sorenson at 9 o'clock. A little bit of college baseball with @Stitch_head on Twitter.
Have you changed your pick
for college baseball? So I'll tell you in 1 second. Then we're talking to Mike Miller as DBTs too to close the show. 2-time NBA champion and Let It Fly owner. So my pick for the College World Series. Normally, I have a pick like that I put money on, and then I have my T-shirt pick.
Of course you do.
Right?
Yeah.
But
when is there ever not money involved with
more
you,
time? Oh, I thought you were going to say when there's not a T-shirt involved, or a jersey. My pick to win it all via the T-shirt design. So I went to FanFest yesterday, as you know, picked up our media credentials, and I was saddened at the fact I couldn't pick up yours.
They trusted you with the parking passes.
Handed them over.
The young lady was
I
so
didn't even
cool
ask.
though. She goes, so the young lady in the back, she was kind of eating or whatever.
Mhm.
She had like this
Mhm.
plate. She's walking around, and somebody else had kind of taken over, and she goes, and I gave her the name, and she goes, "Oh, hey," she goes, "Are you doing the broadcast?" And I go, "Gosh, gotta stop asking me." But anyway, I kid because I care. So I was like, "No, whatever." So she's like looking through the credentials, and she puts it on the little lanyard thing and wraps it up and gives it to me. So it was super smooth because I parked right in front with my hazards on with the drop off. So I literally only had to walk like.
Good on you. I didn't know if I could do that.
Dude,
so
I
I parked by Creighton, so I didn't have to pay because I didn't know. It's the first time down there, like to pick up a media credential.
So
because you said something about the roundabout, and I'm like, yeah, but there were a ton of cops there.
Oh,
and they weren't letting me through. So I'm like, I guess I got to go park somewhere else.
You know, I got chastised for that once. I jaywalked, kept heading to where I was going to do a broadcast. So I obviously it's what jaywalked is, right? I walked diagonal, and the cop was like, "Who do you think you are?" Like he's yelling at me across the street, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just dropping off the." I said, "Oh boy, here we go." So then we had to have
a nice one-on-one.
Yeah, it was more, he did more of the talking. I did more of the listening. I just was like,
you're just like, yeah, I just got to get out of here.
He probably didn't love my attitude, but like, you don't have to yell my name from across the street, right? I know who I am. You can know who I am. You don't have to like, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I get the lanyard in the pass or whatever. And I said, hey, or is there parking? It says pending on the credentials thing. And she goes, oh, somebody was just repping you earlier. I told him that he couldn't take your.
Yeah, thanks.
And I was like, I wonder if it would have just been John Smith or whatever. Would you have been able to grab him? Maybe she didn't trust you because she
knew who you were.
Yeah, and like this was like, man, who's this dude?
But at the same time, like you look at our media badges, it's the same company names on there.
Yeah.
So
and I gave her the wrong name. I said Hurrdat.
Oh, I thought you meant your first name. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Hey, what's your name?
My name,
Dion
Sanders. Hopefully, he doesn't have to get his foot amputated.
So I'm a big Dion guy, right? I wondered when that was going to come to fruition because that's why he walks like that. It basically cost him his career. He and this is going way back. This is like useless information about Dion, but I remember he and Money Mike, or he and Rozier, actually like traded ideas on how to deal with turf toe because they have the same toe injury. Like, and it's debilitating, right? And Mike ended up cutting the bottom out of his shoe, like to relieve the pressure. Like he literally had kind of a hole and then this little soft thing. And Dion went through multiple shoes that he got from his endorsers. But that's kind of, I wondered when that was going to happen because it's bad. Like at one point, I think he worried about some type of necrosis, which means you're not getting any blood flow. So, but anyway, I just missed you by like probably 12 minutes.
Well, I was probably walking FanFest when you were at the window.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah. I was like, man,
because I first walked up to the window and I'm like, okay, like it's a younger set of girls. I'm like, I probably could convince them over, say if it was like
Mr. Prince Charming here.
Not going that way.
He's like licking his eyebrows. He's like, no, they're already perfect. These suckers are on fleek.
Wait, hold on. I took off my shirt. No.
Oh my God. He's so vain. I bet your parents know that song.
If it was like somebody that's my grandma's age, which is normally the person at the ticket window, she probably would have been like, no, I'm a rule follower.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
I'm like, somebody like of her age would bend the rules. So I walked up and I'm like, hey, like, not sure if this is a possibility, but it would really save like my co-host the trouble of coming down and getting this. Like, it would be really cool if we could just like pull something off. Like, I can even call him if you want, or he can send me a picture of his ID. I'm giving everything. And she's like, And I when she hesitated, I'm like, oh, I have her.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm going to have her. I'm not really supposed to do that. And I said the thing I never should have said. I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable with it, like, you don't have to.
Her the out.
And I gave her the out. And I go, Andrew, I walked away when I called you. I'm like, idiot.
So, Cam Bam, listeners, full disclosure, I'm already getting on the interstate because I can't remember what I have to do. I had to do something. And it was like, should I stay on the interstate or are you going to?
Right. Because I called you and said, hey, they're not letting us cross the street right now. And media's off to the side. And I don't think the officer really knew what he was talking about. I'm just telling
you, the same guy, and actually he had a partner with him. Caddy Corner from Fade is the same guy that called me out.
Really?
Listen, and this was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah. It was a situation of I get to the crosswalk. He's like, you can't walk here.
Oh, yeah. He does not.
And I'm like,
he does not play.
I'm like, what do you mean I can't? I got to go to the ticket window. He's like, you have to walk all the way down to the other crosswalk.
Where I wanted to drop the tickets off, I ran them out by hand because I'm doing a show and I was going to just run them across the street during the caddy corner during break. That's how close. It was the exact same place I parked right in front of gate 2.
Wild.
Well, they don't play. She was cool though.
Oh, they were super cool at the window. Super. And they were quick.
I couldn't believe how efficient that was. But the only reason I parked in that spot is because I saw the Channel 6 News truck.
We're talking to LSU head coach Jay Johnson after the break.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
About 20 seconds, and Coach is here.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
McCarthy batting for the first time today. Went 1 for 3 last night. Again, Kentucky came away with just 4 hits in that 14-0 loss. 1-1. Ground ball deep in the hole. It's short. Backhanded by Thompson. Leaps in the air. Throws to first. Morgan with the stretch. And he is out. Hey now. How about that for the Tigers shortstop?
Dude, I mean, we just complimented Grant Smith, who made a pretty good play, but that was Derek Jeter type stuff out there, Buzz.
Welcome back. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. DB, Andrew Rogers here with you. Happy to talk College World Series. A lot today, as it's the start of the College World Series. First game at 1 o'clock, but this team is not taking the field until tomorrow night. That's LSU, and we get to talk to the head coach, Jay Johnson. Now, welcome to the show, Coach.
Thanks for having me on. How you guys doing today?
Coach, good to talk to you again. Different, right? A couple of runs with the Cats. You bring the Tigers back. This has got to be some ride, right?
Mm-hmm.
A proven commodity. You got a great group of kids. Not often folks get to do it, and run it back. How is it different for you this time around?
They're all special once you get here once. And I think the first time was in 2016. You realize, like, you can't imagine not being there. And so it almost motivates you more and more. And really proud of those teams at Arizona that got here. And then now certainly excited to bring LSU back and get our fans back in the town. And this team is a great group of guys that have worked incredibly hard. And wouldn't have felt right if we weren't here this year based on the team that we have, and really proud of them.
Coach, stay right there. Preseason #1 team in the country, battled adversity all season long, but ultimately hard work and team talent has pushed you guys through. What motto or words to live by have you set for your team this season, and has that word or phrase been useful in overcoming the adversity you have faced?
Yeah, I mean, just our program foundations are pretty simple. The fundamentals, compete, and character, and basically it's very simple. Fundamentals of winning in baseball don't change. Sometimes people change and they get outside of themselves, and fundamentals, we want to be highly competitive. And then character, we want to make good decisions both on and off the field. And so we really haven't had that like rallying cry, type thing, but we want to build off of those three things. We did have a small meeting after the SEC tournament just to like get some perspective of, hey, we've had a good season. We're going to play postseason baseball at the box and at home. And it's really simple. It's just like, hey, man, let's go into this thing with the right head, the right heart. We're 5 wins away from Omaha, and we're 5 wins from there to a national title. And we've played our best baseball the last 2 weeks, and that's exciting coming into this deal.
Covering you this long, Coach, you have this nice combination. There's a little nostalgia and historical reference to you, but even just listening to you now, you have this ability to kind of weave it back and stay in the moment. With this particular team, with the target on your back all year, how'd you take such a grueling season a section at a time?
Yeah, great question. I love the beginning of the year, meaning, practice leading into the season and the fall and the prep and all that type of stuff. And we just really kept that the same. It's about developing, getting 1% better each day, constant improvement. Did a great job in the preseason schedule. I think we entered SEC play at like 17-1 or something like that, and played great. Got off to a good start in SEC play with some good series wins. And we kind of hit the injury thing a little bit, and our pitching staff got decimated, found a way to maneuver the parts a little bit, then hit a little bit of speed bump at the end. But I think the thing was we never really overreacted to anything. Did not have a losing week the entire season, and that's something I'm really proud of this team for. But they just stayed consistent, and you said it, stay in the moment. I mean, that's something that's a big deal, or one pitch at a time for us. And if you hear our players talk, I mean, that's a very loud theme, and it's what you need to do here too because of the environment. But the execution of what you need to do doesn't change, and staying in the moment and that right frame of mind is a big part of that.
We're talking to LSU baseball head coach Jay Johnson right now on Coffee and Cream. Coach, you have two of the best players in the nation in Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. What does it mean to have the two guys in the 2023 draft class that could go 1 and 2? And what is one thing we don't see about both of them that you see every day, which leads to their overall success as athletes and teammates?
Well, sign me up for having the possible number 1 and 2 pick every year for my team. I'll tell you that. Somebody's got to do it. I'll take that. I'll take that on. No, they're special players. As far as what you don't see is like, and this is pretty hard to get your head around, is like, as good as they are, they're actually better people than they are players. I mean, there will be a lasting impact that these guys have long after they're gone based on the people that they are and the leadership qualities that they possess. And Dylan, what I would say stands out about him is his humility. He's the best player on the field every game that we play, yet he's playing with a ton of energy and passion. And he's so unassuming. And it's really refreshing nowadays when it's very much a look at me, what did I do? I mean, he's honestly deflecting attention most of the time. And then with Paul, just the self-discipline, the leadership, the accountability, the discipline in his performance or discipline in his preparation is remarkable. And we would not be here without them. And college baseball is going to miss them because I haven't seen playing for me or against me. I haven't seen two guys like this in a really long time.
Coach, that's such an interesting story in your style. You're one of the first coaches, and it started with the ballpark. I think you were playing in back in Tucson where you play in different kind of style of parks. One of those first teams that I saw get really athletic on the corners in the outfield, right? You go first to third, you'd score from second, just athleticism. you move, you're playing in the box. Ton of different styles in the SEC. You saw Kentucky, kind of the antithesis of how LSU plays, and very situational and small ballish. How does your diversity and kind of your history and being able to play a couple of different ways serve you well playing in this ballpark against such a talented field?
Yeah, it is a talented field. Of the 3 times that I've been here, and we're still obviously doing a lot of preparation stuff, this feels like the most good teams and good players.
That's
like
tough.
There's prospects all over this tournament. But as far as that goes, you know, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat or win a baseball game. You know, the old football coach thing or basketball coach, I guess you got to play to your personnel. I love offensive baseball, no matter, you know, how you're trying to score runs. And you're right, that team, we had a lot of speed. You know, we were very aggressive, you know, on the bases, very aggressive with the bunting game. I mean, these parks in the SEC are so small, and the guys are so strong right now. You get a little stingy, you give it away out. So for me, the one constant is plate. Yeah, I can't believe it. It's actually kind of funny. The plate discipline thing, you know, is really important. You know, you've got to win that free base war, and you got to make sure you take care of the ball on defense to limit free bases, because, you know, my guess will be runs are a premium, but, you know, it seems like the last couple of years, balls have been flying out of here a little bit more, and there's strong guys on every team. So you got to execute pitches. So you eliminate free bases and you don't give up those damage hits.
Coach, the bullpen has found its stride over the last 3 weeks. You definitely have a reliable core, and it's like shopping at Costco because it comes in bulk. Would you say the way they've stepped up over the last month that they're becoming the strongest, most influential group to team success at this point in the season?
No doubt. This team has done a really good job in close games and I'm talking over the entirety of the year. And there's a couple reasons for that. We can hit with power and you can get back in a game quickly. And then you got to have a good bullpen to do that. And when we lost Chase Shores and Garrett Edwards and Grant Taylor and Jaden Newt, like that, those, all 4 of those guys can pitch in the major leagues. I mean, those are some of our bigger arms, and we were really set up from a bullpen standpoint. Then we kind of had to find our way a little bit and, you know, match up old school, you know, that type of thing. And now, you know, you're looking at guys like Gavin Guidry, who was a shortstop to begin the year, and Riley Cooper, you know, who pitched here before with me at Arizona. Those guys' competitiveness have lifted us. Griffin Herring's a really good freshman we like. Yeah, we're in a good spot with that bullpen, and they're going to have to be sharp because these 3 teams on our side of the bracket all have great offenses.
Coach, we'll get you out of here on this. How important is it that you know how to manage downtime, having some experience?
You know, every time you're here, it helps. You know, I bring in kind of a notebook with me, and I just write down things that I want to do better, you know, or maybe tweak or adjust. And that's been useful. And only haven't been 2 years ago since we were here in 21 has been helpful. That was a little different because of the COVID thing. But for these guys, we really simplified it to like, hey, you get here on Wednesday. We want to enjoy all of that and everything that comes along with that. Opening ceremonies are great. The practice day yesterday. And then now we'll kind of start locking in. We're going to practice over at Nebraska Omaha today and, you know, get a good normal Saturday night, you know, prep day tomorrow, which will mimic what we've done the rest of the season. And it'll be good. I know they're anxious to get on the field and go for it.
Well, Coach, you're practicing at a beauty of a ballpark. Enjoy Tal and good luck in the College World Series this year.
Thank you, guys. Good talking to you.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
That's LSU baseball head coach Jay Johnson here on the show.
Talk about not wanting to chase ghosts. Last time they were here, it was a Saturday night. I think it was a Saturday night. Whatever the night it was Kumar Rocker from Vandy. And they took that thing to extras and had every chance to win that game. And Vandy got the better of them in 2021, man. Hard not to relive that. Talk about staying in the moment. He's a cool cat. I remember those teams were athletic, man. I was like, these big, strong guys, they're going 2 bases at a time. And the game started to change with those corner outfielders. It happened even locally with Creighton. Or just big, strong guys. Athleticism is a premium. You'll see it a lot with this LSU team.
We'll change gears. Talk to Mike Schaefer after the break. Stay tuned.
Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 4 minutes. Mike Schaefer.
The pitch. Swung out and drilled. Deep left. Down the line. Gone. A laser 3-run home run down the left field line by David Fry. Birds are out at Petco Park, and the Bluebirds are out. Fry. It is 5-0 Cleveland. And
covering Nebraska football and recruiting for 24/7 Sport. Schaefer.
The pitch.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
No Schaefer yet. He does have to be out by 25 whenever he gets in.
Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Hey, top of the hour here on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning and Drew Rogers. Happy to have you joining us on this Friday edition of Coffee and Cream. What are you doing? Are you going to the CWS today?
What are you doing?
I'm sure that's a good guess. DB's rocking his West Side football pamphlet in front of his laptop screen. He was feeling good. The first thing you did was put that up when you first sat down in the chair.
This was important today. You know, the elite roadmap. I reminded myself of how to be what I need to do.
You asked me earlier who I thought was going to win the CWS.
Yeah.
And I told you it's all based on the T-shirt, right? So I went down there and I checked out all the T-shirts. Did you see my tweet yesterday of what they all looked like? You have Oma Deeks, Gomaha, Oma Hoos, Oma Chomp, Oma Frogs, Oma Vols, Oralaha, and just Stanford.
You went with just Stanford baseball.
Stanford did not have a fun catchphrase. No.
Well,
I practically threw that in the trash.
What's wrong with being pragmatic?
No. We're having fun down at the CWS. This is fun. We're having fun. Yeah. The team I'm picking based on the T-shirt.
Oma Vols or the Oral Haha?
Gomaha.
Oh,
I'm taking the purple and gold. We just got done talking to Jay Johnson. I'm going with the purple and gold. Now, if I actually had to put money down, though, like I said, I'll put it on Wake Forest.
Yeah, they're pretty complete, man. It's a scary team.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much they don't do well. I think they have the best roster. They have the best arms. They're swing it.
When was the last time we've seen a team like this Wake Forest team?
Well, they're pretty complete. They are pretty complete. Now, history is not on their side with 1 seeds.
That is also true. Since 1999, we haven't seen a 1 seed win at all.
Like Stained. It's been a while.
Can we stop? Can we stop the
I don't know,
the singing to talk to Mike Schaefer by chance?
I don't know. There could be bacon involved. That was a great Schaefer line one.
Oh, look at that hat. Mike Schaefer coming in now on Coffee and Cream. Schaefer, good morning.
Good morning. Damon, have you bought your tickets for Nickelback yet?
Oh, stop.
I hear you singing some Stained. I mean, that's right in that same.
That's the guy that's been with me from the jump with a Nickelback joke.
You know what? He didn't know Ed Sheeran when we played on Wednesday, but he would know Nickelback.
Very well played, Mike J. Touche.
Yeah. Well, you were the first person I thought of when I saw that concert was announced. So, I'm looking forward to seeing you and Matt Rule and Chad Kroger all standing together in October at Pinnacle Bank Arena. I don't know. You think that, so the three of you are up on the stage. Who gets to be in the center?
Wow.
Is it Matt Rule, the head football coach? Is it Chad Kroger, the front man of Nickelback? Or is it Damon Benning, who loves both of these guys equally?
Wow. I don't know that. He probably hangs out with them equally, too.
So,
and then the
much
question,
like Matt Rule, we should just give the mic to Schaefer. Let Schaefer do stand-up and just kill your guy.
And because, every time we see a photo of Matt Rule standing next to somebody, there's a point. There's a person in the middle. Do they have to somehow do you do this? Do you do one of these so you're pointing at yourself and the other two guys?
No, DB's
there's a lot of logistical things that have to be figured out.
No, Schaefer, DB's a fist guy.
What did I do to earn this start this morning, Mike J? Did you wake up a little squirrely, man? Your hash browns didn't turn out. What happened?
I woke up at 6:16 off of 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep, and I'm ready to go.
Why such a short night? Are you involved in a TV show or are you writing?
No, I tried to go to bed at 11:30 and I could not fall asleep. And then I finally fell asleep and I woke up it's just one of those, you feel like your body finally rests, you fall asleep, and then all of a sudden you're awake again.
That's good.
And you don't necessarily.
That is pretty sweet though, man.
It is.
You have no idea whether you really slept or not, or whether you're refreshed. But the only way that you can move forward is to just give it every ounce of energy you have. And that's how we're attacking this Friday.
Tell you what, you guys from 24/7 Sports have had me laughing quite a bit lately. Brunts has been on a roll. He may be BC hit us with the deep thoughts, but Brunts he may be untouchable right now. He is got jokes galore with his sarcasm.
You got to be on your toes around him.
Yeah, Brunts has jokes. Schaefer has sarcasm.
Yeah,
you never know, because he'll make a comment and you laugh and you're like, wait a minute, was that actually directed at me?
Yeah. And was it actually funny?
I quietly being insulted right now by this polite individual? Is that what just happened?
Yeah, because he doesn't laugh.
You don't realize it until at least a minute later, and you're like, well, now it's too late to go back. So I guess I'll just wear this. So that's basically been our interaction for 12 years. So.
Oh God. Schaefer, I gotta know what's the tenor, the tone on your board with the camp offers and how many offers there have been? Are people asking hey, what's with all the offers? Or are they backfilling? Are they trying to make up? Do they what's kind of the tenor with all the offers that have been coming out of camps?
I would say that people, for the most part, have been kind of in wait and see mode. I think this is a really different weekend for official visitors. I mean, I can't think of a time in which there's been multiple guys that don't have profile pictures, let alone, don't have rankings in the middle of June that are coming in for official visits. So this is a first for us too. I mean, it's I don't know who the hell Braylon Pruitt is. I'll just be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I don't think most of the college football coaching community knows who Braylon Pruitt is. But this staff saw something down in Texas that made them want to bring him, up here to visit. Same with Kalen Barta, which is one of those rare situations where you're talking about an official visit before he even has an offer. And then you throw in, guys like Evan Taylor, where you can see the measurables and you can see, with the film, like, okay, this guy's 6'2", 6'3". He can play safety. He can play wide receiver. And you see offensive lineman Landon Davidson, Jake Peters, excuse me. I just think a lot of it feels like, okay, get some guys in for visits that we like a little bit further down our board. We can make the decision either during the time of their visit, or if we missed out on some of these guys making some quick June decisions, we've got someone to pivot to, right away. That's the kind of feeling I have. It feels like an R&D weekend. Like there's a lot of research and potentially some development on your board. But it is not it's not a star-studded weekend the way the next weekend will be, or even that first weekend that they had. But it's an opportunity to bring in some guys that you're intrigued by, and then, see how the rest of your board kind of shakes out. Because if you don't think you're getting Caleb Pyfrom, for instance, does that make it easier for you to pivot to Landon Davidson or to Jake Peters and go ahead and go get that commitment rather than waiting to see what Caleb Pyfrom's going to do? I mean, I think some of it is just having an answer for when the next, thing happens. And I feel like that's what this weekend is really about. And then next weekend is sort of your major, you want to do some damage. You want to get some commitments. There's a kid named Caleb Benning that's coming in. I think they'd like to see him committed before too long.
Schaefer, tongue in cheek, man. I hear it took this magical sophomore film for people and for him to run that people figured out he's actually pretty good. Right. He's this smart, heady player that's not very athletic. It's kind of been what I gather from this.
I feel like you go a little bit strong on the not very athletic when people say that maybe he doesn't have the elite measurables. Oh my God. I think you might be reading a little bit more into that than I
probably am. I see it every day. I know he's our best defensive player.
That's okay. That's all right. I just think that's kind of where we're at in the recruiting cycle. I think this weekend's a lot of kind of researching some guys that are maybe a little bit deeper on your board, and next weekend you're going to get some answers. And then I think they're just trying to stack as many kids in this class as they can before we even get to August. It really feels that way.
If this may be a ridiculous question, but sometimes I'm known for asking ridiculous questions.
100%.
Look, we're already however many minutes in, and we've talked Nickelback. I've made fun of Damon at least 3 times. I mean,
well, if I wasn't your whipping boy, Schaefer, our relationship wouldn't be the same, man. I mean, come on.
I don't know how you think you're the whipping boy. I do this to literally everybody.
That much is true. Equal opportunists.
The amazing thing is, like, for some reason, nobody just comes back at me. There's no clap back. It's all just like, oh, yeah, it's just good fun. Except it's just me browbeating everybody.
It's just delivery. Right? It sneaks up on you.
I make you feel good while I'm making fun of you? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what it is.
I can only be so witty, and it's more times than not with DB. But, what I mean by this ridiculousness is, because we've seen it work, but should Rule be further behind than other Big Ten coaches when it comes to recruiting, seeing as this is his first year back in college in a new conference? We know he has ties to places. We know that he's really relational and can make those connections, but he doesn't have the longevity that some of these other Big Ten coaches have. So where does he have a leg up on other coaches in the conference?
Well, I think that the leg up just comes from the Nebraska name at this point. I definitely think they're behind in terms of where they'd want to be relationship wise with high-end guys and, even just people that they're interested in. I think that 2025, 2026 we're going to be at a different stage when it comes to June. I don't think you'd see a weekend like this that we have coming up. And I think some of that is you have to at least remember that Matt Rule had spent the previous 3 years focused on the NFL, that a lot of his assistant coaches weren't even in college football, and then now are out there recruiting. So they don't have a big track record of relationships with current recruits. And so I think a lot of this is you have to build on the fly. And then you have to get people that are either skeptical or interested, but they're not ready to give you a yes. You have to give them a reason to give you a yes before you've ever coached a game. I mean, one of the hardest parts about the coaching carousel right now is that you ask recruits repeatedly to give you a verbal, and they've never seen you coach for the current team that you're at. Like that's something that we don't talk about a lot, but that is honestly a very difficult thing if you think about it. And it's why some guys are like, you know what, I want to get into the season because I don't know what this looks like. Everything sounds good. I like you, coach, but what does this look like? Nobody knows yet. And so I think that's another reason why they're a little bit behind. But I don't think it's going to be like this every year. I definitely think they're doing some good work with 25s and 26s. They had a far better week of camp than I might have guessed, just with my own sort of general pessimism about how camps have gone for Nebraska in the last decade. So I think they've done a nice job bringing in area talent for future classes while trying to also do the best they can for 2024. I know that's not – people listening to that are like, oh, that doesn't sound like they're going to have a very good class. I think they're still going to have a top 25 class. It's just that the upside for this program and the upside for recruiting, I think, is yet to really kind of happen. I think that's when you get more time with recruits and more time with their families and more time on campus. I think that'll be coming.
So it's interesting, Schaefer, because I think Coach Rule has alluded to the level of toxicity from the last 15 years of not winning and wanting to get behind coaches and players. Do you think this staff would rather be the staff that's talking to the parents and guardians of recruits, trying to sell a vision and operate on faith, even though they have the historical reference of not having success, or the players who have a much shorter memory bank of lack of success and maybe a little more easier to win over in their pitch? Who do you think this staff would prefer to try to get in with good first if they want to operate on faith?
I think it's kind of situationally dependent, right? Like, I think you have to judge every situation with every recruit as to who are the primary people that you have to win over. In some situations, it's not the recruit. You got to win over mom or dad because they're the one driving everything. In some situations, it is the recruit because mom and dad are like, you know what? He's going to be 18. He's got to make decisions for himself, that kind of thing. So I think, as I sometimes do, I'm just going to choose the middle line of an answer here. I think it really is just going to depend on the type of kid that you're recruiting. I think in most cases, though, I think you got to tailor it towards a player. Because mom and dad or guardians are great, but that's not who you're going to coach. That's not who's going to be sitting in your office when their girlfriend breaks up with them and family lives 500 miles away. That's not who's going to be there after a bad day or a good day at practice. So I think most of it needs to be geared towards the player or the recruit, because ultimately that's who has to live the football life. That's who matters.
If it's Mike J, would you rather have the experience and the longer memory if somebody is asking you to operate on faith, or would you rather have the shorter term memory where you're a lot more malleable?
I've never been considered malleable in my life. So I guess the answer sort of chooses itself. I'm certainly not someone who forgets. So I think just knowing my own personality, I would certainly be in the longer, I'm going to need to see more of this. But some of that comes from having 35 years on this wonderful earth. I mean, if you're 17 years old, you don't have that perspective, and your parents might. But again, if it's your decision, if you're the one that has to do it, that perspective doesn't always have as much value as we want to give credit to it, because we're talking about high school kids. The way they view it and the way I view it are going to be two entirely different things.
Schaefer, I got super into the weeds yesterday on the 10-80-10 principle that Rule adopted and his focus on keeping guys constantly chasing, never complacent. That phrase right there, constantly chasing, never complacent. If you were building a how to have success priority list for every student athlete, where would that fall on that list?
Like the competitiveness?
The constantly chasing, never complacent. Yeah, the competitiveness, always striving to be more than what you are.
I mean, I think that has to be towards the high end of any factor of anything you're trying to do. Almost anywhere. Competitive nature is one of the biggest drivers of all things to me. And it might just be because I'm competitive in the work that I'm in. When I watch sports, I want my teams to be competitive. When I play sports, I want to be competitive, even if I'm bad. I mean, competition's a big thing to me. And I like to see people compete because I think it sort of forces out of your comfort zone at times. It forces you to make quick moments and quick decisions that you can get kind of a read on there. So, yeah, I think anything you can do to promote competition is good. And I mean, at a place like Nebraska, there's no room for complacency. What do you have to be complacent about? There's not a single person that has any reason on that roster right now to be complacent about a damn thing. You haven't done anything. And that includes the coaching staff. That includes, it includes everybody involved with Nebraska. There's no reason to be complacent. And especially right now when it's the first year of a coaching staff. And guess what? If you go 6-6, congratulations. You don't get to be complacent then either. You go 8-4, everyone's happy for you. You don't get to be. So I've never been a coach, but the worst fear that you would have is that someone grabs the actual carrot. You want to be chasing all the time. Bringing it back to Damon, and I'm not trying to blow up an ego here, but we're talking about a West Side football program that plays for the state title every freaking year. And you know what they're doing at the end of May? They're working their butts off because there is no room for complacency, even in a program in which the state title game is the standard. So, you extrapolate that to college football. If you go 6-6, I don't want to hear about what a great season Nebraska had. It needs to be, okay, this is the start of something. And I think that's what they want to build over there. And I think any successful program is built on the tenet of what you did in the past was fine. What you do in the future defines you next. And I think that's the way that you have to go forward.
Wow. Safe. I wasn't planning on going this direction. That's legit. So what do you think the downsides are? Because we hear oh man, they've done this before. They've rebuilt before. They know how to do this. They know how each other thinks. What do you think the downsides are of the familiarity of having rebuilt programs before? Did you just talk about one where maybe complacency could creep in?
Yeah.
You do relax because you've done it before? Because it seems like there would be this irrational confidence because you've done it at multiple places.
But I think there's a humbling element for Matt Rule that at his last stop, he failed.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you listen to him, and I could be wrong, but I feel like I've listened to him a ton. He doesn't spend a lot of time waxing poetic about what he did at Temple and at Baylor. He'll reference stuff, and if he's asked directly, he'll certainly talk about it. But isn't it always geared towards what he's going to do at Nebraska? Isn't everything he says and what his vision outlines is to what's next? It's not about what I've done. It's not about, and again, he's going to reference stuff, and especially when he's directly asked, he's going to talk about it. But it's what he wants to do going forward. He strikes me as a very forward-thinking individual or a forward-looking individual that isn't going to get overly caught up on what happened previously because that ultimately doesn't matter. It's behind you. It's what's in front of you that counts.
Schaefer, in his first year, where do you want to see Coach Rule succeed? Is it in recruiting?
On the field, Andrew. I would like to see him succeed on the field.
Okay, but find a place on the field. Is it scoring? Is it defense? Is it just overall winning?
It's defense.
I'm sorry, that was mean. That was rude.
It's defense.
I don't know exactly how this is quantified. Can I just say trenches? I'd like to see Nebraska succeed in the trenches. I'd like to see them be a team that you don't have to cover your eyes when it's 3rd and 1 because you're afraid the left guard's going to get beat off the snap and the running back's going to get hit in the backfield right away. So I think, the trenches is a big part of this for me. So if they have success on both sides of the ball up front, I think that's going to dictate a lot. And I think more than about any other thing with Matt Rule teams, when they've gone well, it's because they're good up front. And they're good up front on both sides of the ball. And so I think and it may not happen right away. I mean, it might take them half the season before you see some real success or real progress up front. But I think if you get into November and you're looking at Nebraska's schedule and they're able to hang with Michigan State and with Wisconsin and Iowa at the end of the season up front, that's going to tell me a lot about what happened for Nebraska in 2023. Maybe more than almost anything else. If they're good up front against those teams in November, when you have to be good up front to win football games, that's going to tell us a lot.
Shafe, you have some young, impressionable ears bumping around here up the high school level that sent me the message, Schaefer spitting straight facts. So, Shafe, to this morning, you must have been spitting facts, buddy.
All right. Well, look, if I can just get up at 6:15 every morning, I'm just going to be a soothsayer of truth. I'm going to be mocking anyone who doesn't ask precisely what they mean. Sorry, Andrew, that was rude.
Yeah, don't be that guy, Shafe.
I'm going to give Damon hell, but I'm going to do that either way.
So the reason I asked that question though too is because I've talked to a lot of just buddies of mine that are fans of this team, and they always say, like, I want to see them succeed in recruiting in year one because they're not going to be good in year one. We know that with Coach Rule's track record.
We think so?
These are words coming out of their mouth. I'm just reiterating. Yeah, they're not going to be good in year one. So I want to see them succeed in recruiting over anything else because that will set you up for the future.
Well, the crazy thing is because recruits say they want to see them do well on the field.
Yeah, it's the chicken and the egg. I mean, that's where we're at. That's where so much of Nebraska football is at right now. I mean, you want X, but in order for X to happen, Y has to happen, but Y can't happen until you have X. And so that's just sort of how it goes. And I look at the talent that's on this roster, and I think that they have an opportunity to be able to go 500 or slightly better than that. I don't think that's, pushing it too high in the sky. And I am more focused on the on-field results this first year than I am what happens in recruiting. And I cover recruiting. Like that is my primary job. I moonlight and do a million other things, but covering recruiting is my primary job. And I don't even think it's the biggest thing that can happen for them in year one. I mean, I think you can set yourself up really well. And I think the first full class is a big indication of how things can go. But I think what happens on the field, how he responds in critical moments, how Nebraska responds if they were to start off the season well and then they hit a rut, like that's going to tell us so much more than if he gets X amount of 4 stars or X amount of 3 stars in a recruiting class. It really is. I mean, what happens on Saturday is really what tells you about a football program far more than what happens on a weekend in June.
Shafe, we appreciate you, man, or sort of kind of appreciate you. Enjoy your Friday.
Andrew, I'm sorry.
We're all in our field.
I will promise to be slightly nicer next week.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Right. Have a good one, guys.
We'll be back after the break.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes.
We were expecting very flat, and I was very excited to see that there were hills.
You know, I walk by that mirror every morning and want.
We were expecting very.
Benning will be back in 1 minute.
Omaha! Omaha! Omaha!
Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
When exactly did he make contact with his butt going back in?
About 10 seconds.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, welcome back. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, happy to have you with us on a Friday. If you're not going downtown to check out the 8 teams, or at least 4 teams today at the Chuck, maybe you'll find yourself going to the Omaha Storm Chasers game. Tonight at Werner Park is Beach Bash night. Kick off summer with the Storm Chasers. Bring your flip-flops, tank tops, and Hawaiian shirts for the Beach Bash party at Werner Park. DB, would you ever find yourself wearing flip-flops, a tank top, or a Hawaiian shirt at any point in life?
Flip-flops, yes. Tank top, yes. Hawaiian shirt, no.
Yeah, see, I would be flip-flops and Hawaiian shirt.
Of course. Well, I mean, why not?
That would be me.
Why not? I mean, this is the epitome of ebony and ivory right now.
Hey, just so you know, the fan wearing the best Beach Bash gear will win a Pepsi prize pack, including 2 lawn chairs, an igloo cooler, a portable grill, Pepsi koozies, and T-shirts. Seemed like a decent game to attend.
I may have to figure out that portable grill thing.
What does it look like?
Yeah.
Can you get one?
What
if it's branded Omaha Storm
the
Chasers?
Cheap kettle that I bought was supposed to be a portable grill. I'm worried about even cleaning the grates without breaking something.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when you only pay $38 for it.
I feel like I only pay $38 for information from Colin Cowherd sometimes.
See, I like Colin. I know a lot of people don't. I get it, but I'm kind of a coward guy.
So did you see his little powwow on Twitter yesterday comparing Nebraska to what Oklahoma may be?
Yeah, the Lincoln Riley guy lamenting over the loss of Lincoln Riley because now he's all in on SC and Caleb Williams and this, that, and the other. And listen, he's actually not alone. I check on Oklahoma Tyler from time to time to make sure he's okay, because even he's indifferent about Venables and what the future of Oklahoma is. I like the premise of where he was going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the analogy that he used with Nebraska.
So to some degree, I'm like,
we got to kind of surmise it here in case people.
And I'll do it. Yeah. So the 3 reasons he said Nebraska failed. 1, the state doesn't produce high school football players. You have to convince kids from outside states to be a part of something that they didn't grow up loving. 2,
he's talking about getting in-state kids.
2, they joined the wrong conference. Leaving Texas meant leaving recruits. Parents couldn't watch their kids play. And 3, they couldn't get the coach right. Those were the 3 reasons he laid out. If he would have had this take last year, I don't think anybody would have really questioned it. Mm-hmm. But I also don't know if he has enough information in knowing what's happening right now in Lincoln. You have to remember, this is all BR. This is all before Rule.
We have AD, BC, and now we have BR before Rule.
If you look at
you're our Lord, BR.
If you have the guts to say the state doesn't produce high school football players, look again.
Shane here.
Okay.
BR anything.
Not
BR.
only are there some football players in the state that are going elsewhere, that are going to other Power 5 programs. Look at the trend of Nebraska once Matt Rule got here. Okay. You look at 2019, 5 out of 27 of the recruits were in state. 2020, 2 out of 26. 2021, 6 out of 20, and that counts Fedoni, who's right on the border. So if you really want to just do Nebraska, it's 5 out of 20. 2022, 3 out of 19. How many in-state guys?
2022 was really, I think, not did him in, but the persona of where you're kind of losing faith on top of the win-loss record.
How many in 2023 did Coach Rule secure?
In-state?
In-state. Take a guess. There out of 28 commits, how many did he get out of the state of Nebraska?
I think I would know, right?
Well, we talk about him a lot, but we don't actually get down to the number. And if you went through all the names, you'd be like Nebraska.
I'll say 7.
Yeah, 9. That's 32%.
So better.
If you look at all the numbers before him, 32% in state. You look at 2024, 2 of 9 so far. I would venture to say you're going to add a few more names to that list by the time the 2024 cycle is done.
I would concur.
And then 2025, out of the 2 recruits you have, all 2 of them are from the state of Nebraska.
Both, as we like to say at the house.
He's building toward that. The state doesn't produce high school football players. Like, no, there's a change in the air. Then you look at they joined the wrong conference. This is something that I don't like. Do we live in the 2000s? Like, are you really going to act like Texas parents can't watch their kids and that NIL packages don't have anything pulled together with TV deals? Frankly, there's probably an NIL package out there for your boy in Texas that flies you out to every game. Like, let's just bury that lead, Colin. And third, they couldn't get the coach right. That one probably has some truth behind it because we don't know Coach Rule success-wise on the field just yet. So, like, I'll give him a little grace with that point. But some of these other ones, I'm like, do you really know what's actually happening? Or are you just taking in the fact that, hey, this year hasn't happened yet, and so I'm only basing it on the years before?
All right, so full disclosure, right? Because you're kind of hitting on. So what do people not like about Colin Cowherd? There's 2 things. Number 1, he's a little condescending. Number 2, a lot of times he talks about things and he's ill-informed. Okay? The second one is what's bugging you, right? But that is kind of that's kind of his thing.
But he had this is what made me mad. He had the numbers for Oklahoma. He just didn't have the numbers for Nebraska. So it's just a poor analogy.
And listen, I think you're spot on too, though. I love when you get mad because it's just like you just go all in. I'm gonna let this ride, right?
You bounce back a little bit.
You see my chair? I was like, let's see where we're going with this. Because I like Cowherd. But mostly it's because of his delivery style and his ability to stay the course, not necessarily always for the content. Although I think he's right more than he's wrong. And he's not afraid to say that. But I just think he's ill-informed, right? The coach thing, he's 1,000% correct. They have gotten the wrong coach. You know, if he was really doing his homework, you need the right coach of combination. You need the right combination of coach and administration. This is as comfortable, and I've said this, right? This is as comfortable as I felt about that union in 20 years. Good admin, good coach. What that means for wins and losses, I don't know, but I just know from a level of comfort standpoint, finally I like the marriage, right? I have faith in both. As far as the in-state talent, it's a misnomer. You have to get in there. But I do agree with the fact you have to keep more of those guys around. You can't keep reading about other guys listen, is it different if you get Keegan Johnson and Xavier Watts and Noah Fant? I mean, Nate Budge, maybe, but you still have to develop those guys. But I get how the optics aren't good. Would I rather lose with those guys? Oh, absolutely.
Hands down.
But does it mean I'm going to win with them?
Not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. I don't know that either. So you just, sometimes you got to handicap yourself with the facts. Now, you keep enough of these in-state guys around here in the next 2 years, I think you're going to be okay, right? Because I just trust that I've seen enough, right? Where I feel like you're on par. And I think I know, Nebraska's roster well enough. I know the difference between Brett's in-state, Miles Farmer out of state. And it's not the physical attributes. So I'm not one of those guys that thinks, oh, man, if you get a guy from such and such, and then you get a guy from – it's getting the right guy is really what it boils down to. You need the right guy for what your program is. So I think the critical thing that C-Squared is missing is the work that's being done ahead of time to build the culture so the guys fit. I can't stress how important that is. You need the right environment so you know to get the right guys. It should work like this. Environments don't dictate people. People should dictate the environment. Just because I live in the ghetto doesn't mean I have to be ghetto, right? That's the basic premise of building a program, a business entity, whatever. You want those two things to be married. What we stand for and what we represent from an ideology standpoint, we would like for that to be what you embody as an individual. And the more that those two things line up and we don't compromise, the better off we'll be. Those are the things that I don't think he's getting into that he's missing when you just go that linear, that pragmatic with 1, 2, 3.
You bring up a great point too by saying it's about getting the right guy. You don't have to come from the state of Nebraska in order for Nebraska to be good.
You don't have to be a 26-star or a 2-star, right? You need the right guy.
But it's also about striking with getting the best in-state guy and pairing them with the other best out-of-state guys. Yeah. And that's why it's about finding the best guys. So to everybody out there, just do a little homework before. I believe my mom always told me, think before you speak. We'll be back with Vrzal, who doesn't think before he speaks.
Oh.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
About 20 seconds, and Matt is here.
Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning. Now let's find out what Matt Verzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Verzal.
Happy birthday, Matt. You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Verzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Verzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How did that happen?
Here is Matt Verzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Still might be the best intro we have on the show, Matt Verzal's, with all of the callers.
You're still fawning over him after he was in person. We need Verzal in person all the time.
We do. I want Verz right here. Get him in the chair. We have an empty chair right now. Bring Verz in.
He has a way of making people feel more secure.
I love
Said
Verz.
no one ever. Matty, good morning. What's up, buddy?
Well, perturbed with the two of you.
What?
Being bumped for something Creighton-centric.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I wouldn't say.
No.
We'll say promoted.
This has been noted in your document form. So,
God.
Verz, will you
then my frequency of attendance will start to diminish.
Verz, when you make pizza, are you like Kevin James in Hitch when he dances?
No.
No. This dude is mean. Matty.
Just soft.
How?
Hey, by the way, Rogers, I got moves.
He's like, I may not be a Kevin James, but I'll dust him any day.
Here's the thing. What you got to realize when you live most of your life as a large human being, if you want to impress the opposite sex, you better know how to shake it.
Oh, my gosh. Man,
you step, swing, waltz, whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so Matty, how did yesterday go with that massive delivery?
I made it happen. I mean, I got a free spa heat box ride down to Lincoln with 185 pizzas in the back seat, so that was uncomfortable, but made it down on time and got everybody out there and got to see a couple of the boys that I'd worked with before and talked to them for a little bit. So yeah, it was good. It was a good trip.
Here's the thing, though. If Andrew, he delivered 185 pizzas to Nebraska's football team yesterday. Matty, I got one question. Did you have help getting the boxes in and out of the Bronco? Yeah, your floored, right? Yes, he delivered 185.
Oh, this is a Tahoe.
Tahoe. I'm sorry, I said Bronco. I was thinking of Betty.
I forgot Nebraska football is not poor people, so they can afford.
Michigan Lance.
Michigan Lance told Andrew last week that how to feed people are poor people problems.
Yeah. Man. And sometimes people get into excuse problems. Like there's a will, there's a way. Like you can make it happen. But my boys, my crew here helped me load. And then when I got down there, Sarah and it was Julian helped me unload.
Nice.
So they got it nice up there. It's all set out, and they go do the running and all this stuff, and they just come grab a pizza. I was like, man, this has come a long way from here's a banana and an orange and a scoop of fruit. Don't forget your creatine. Here's a protein bar. Here's the first protein bar ever invented. It tastes like chalk, but enjoy it.
Yeah. Here's your Suffle cup full of powder. It goes with 4 ounces, whatever, and get to your workout. You're like, wait, what, we're getting pizzas?
Here's some protein powder that Sty and Wilkes are probably going to steal from you, and then just take to the face and shake in their mouth and eat. But go ahead.
Hey, you're going to use that. Hey,
I was like, look, man, it's my creatine. Like, leave me alone.
Are you going to drink?
Hey, dog, you going to use that? Yeah, I think I have to, or they shoot me. Like, I have to take this.
So, you're not surprised, right? Because you're kind of getting in there now, and they love you. Are you surprised?
Very lovable to everybody except you.
Or are you not surprised? Like, I told somebody the other day, it's not that it's new and novel. It's what other good coaches do. We just aren't used to it.
Right. Listen. Okay. Here's for everybody. All right. Sports, and I haven't been the best example of this at Pisons lately. When my staff doesn't do properly, I get frustrated, and I don't hide that frustration well all the time. That's its fault. I do that. I know I do it. So I usually come apologize. Here's the thing. Life ain't that hard. Okay. We make life hard. Life is a people business. Okay. If you can go into any organization and you're the lead dog, if the lead dog, and I met the boss too, Susie, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
I met the boss. So now I know where this all goes, right? But if you are good to people and they know you are genuine in your intent, sky's the limit for you.
Wait, are you talking about Julie? Are you talking about the wifey?
No.
No, Elza, Dr. Elza.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I would call her Susan. I don't know if I'd have the stones to say
I know
Susie.
when he said Susie, I'm like, and you said, yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe it's her nickname. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go there. I'd say Doc.
If you are good to people, that's it. And they know that you have their best intent in mind, they will kill for you. Like they will do whatever. And when you get to go and watch all of them, not just Rule and not just, anybody, watch them all operate. They're all operating the same direction. Whatever BS happened, back in the day when we were there and you had people pulling ropes in different directions, we weren't good, so everybody pulled all their ropes in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to the point where you're good to people and they know you have their best interest, turnarounds can be fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
It's funny how we talk the same. I was just telling Andrew why I ride with him is because I know he has my best interest at heart. Right? It's like we even talk the same. Do you know what I mean?
Who, me and you?
Yeah. I mean, you're a lot more colorful with the cuss words, as you let me know the other day on the phone. But I said, "Oh man, you almost went a full sentence without cussing at me."
And he goes, "Yeah, I cuss. I'm not one that thinks it's a sign of how smart I am."
You keep calling people things that aren't true.
Whatever.
Hey, I did get my first Damon Benning shirt. It's about to hit the road. It's going to go down to, I forgot where it's going to go. I got to put it in the mail though.
Really? The driving school one?
Driving school shirt has been distributed.
Yeah.
Big fan. It's to my house.
Yeah, me too. Hey, if any of your loyal listeners out there want to go to the 1 o'clock game,
I'm going.
You want to go to either game? I've got tickets. I've got 4 together if anybody wants to go.
Oh, wow. I wish I would have known that. I would have taken yours.
Look at you, you consummate diplomat.
Well, yeah. A friend of mine got in a pinch and she couldn't get up from Arizona, so I've got the full go.
Maddie, help me out because I would feel good about foregoing the tickets I bought for the price I got them at if your tickets are nicer.
I got 4 stacks, so it's two in front of 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're kind of under the money. You're kind of out of the.
Like, am I toward home plate?
I'll shoot you the.
Shoot me a text.
I'm surprised. Look at this kinder. You're giving a gift and you let him ask multiple questions without cutting him off at the knees. Look at you all growing up.
You are the only person.
If I asked Matt that same question, he'd be like, "Look, buddy, do you want him or not?" Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Well, I know though, like you're a lot mentally tougher than the kid. Like the kid was.
First knows I'm a big softy.
As I was sitting next to him last week, Damon, the look of fear and kind of happiness in his face was like noticeable. I was like, "Oh, this dude thinks I could lose it right now."
I was waiting for you to lose it on DB. That's what I look forward to.
He knows you're. Well, we were still fighting from Sunday when you would not let me screenshot a goddamn debit card and we're acting like a jerk.
Well, okay, so. Well, Andrew, what time would you think dinner on Sunday night?
Gosh. Oh, fuck.
What was that question?
Here we go.
What time do you think dinner on a Sunday night would commence? I'll give you ranges.
I would say I eat dinner at 6, but I know DB travels a lot.
It was actually 6.
So at 5:45. At 5:45, chances are a gentleman that owns a restaurant could be a little busy, right?
That would be true.
So I get a call at 5:45. And then just a follow-up call at 5:47, just because he thought I was screening his call and not busy. And then we're going. Now I got texts firing me. I got pizzas in the oven. I got people trying to sit down. I got things going on. And then my guy wants to just send me his debit card because his 18-year-old son, I know, is fully capable of walking up to that register and running his own card. But he'll say he didn't have any money, but that card is probably tied to Dad's account. So I'm thinking, like, why can't Junior walk in, slide that card, and figure it out?
Wow.
But
wow.
Jamie called, paid on the phone, and Caleb, hey, he did pull off signing his name on the ticket. I was very proud of it.
Nice. Has a Hancock.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to start doing at about 8:30. I'm just going to call you every 2 minutes.
Hey, everybody else does.
When you don't answer, I'm gonna call you names. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You don't listen to my calls.
Dude, we'll get into your stupid voice text you left me too. Hey, buddy, I'm on the ovens. Figure it out. Yeah, whatever, man.
Very simple.
Hey,
life is easy.
Verz, I know you were busy. I wouldn't have done it.
You're an idiot too.
Very true. Hey, you still haven't brought that rocket in either.
The rocket?
Yeah, his girlfriend's fiance.
Oh, there he goes. I feel like we end with her at least twice a month. Thanks, Verz.
We need to meet her.
We'll be back.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
About 10 seconds. Eric is here.
Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
1-1 to Bowser. Bowser skies this one, and they don't spot it. Kennedy looking for it, and it drops. Stanford wins, and it's going to Omaha.
College World Series time here on Coffee and Cream. We love talking about the CWS, especially when the time is now. 8 teams left. 7 of the 8 were preseason top 20 DBs. So people are in for a treat if you are downtown and going to the Chuck today, and let's just say over the next 13-ish days here in Omaha. Let's welcome in our next guest on the show. He covers college baseball for a living. National writer Eric Sorenson at @Stitch_head on Twitter. Eric, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, man. I love talking baseball with you guys this time of year.
That's fantastic, too. I mean,
yeah, man.
Andrew said it earlier. I mean, 7 out of the 8 top 20 star-studded with draft picks. I hate the whole recency bias, but you're a Rolodex. When's the last time you would make the comp in terms of high-end talent and rankings with what we're seeing in 2023 to another year?
Oh, God. Oh, you're starting me off with a tough one.
I mean, it's been a while, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes when you get to Omaha at this time of year. It's never. I think the old adage is it's never the best team that wins. It's always the team that's playing the best.
And I think we kind of saw that last 2 years with Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Those teams were not the best teams in Omaha and certainly not the best teams in the NCAA tournament, but boy, they just put it together when they got here. But like I kind of look back to, I guess it was like, I want to say 2017 when
and Rushman and
the finals.
I know.
Of course, that you had Oregon State with all those guys. They had a lot of star power with Adley Rutschman, like you're talking about, and Larner and some of those dudes. But yeah, so probably have to go back a few years before you get to a team or before you get to a series that was as star-studded as this one as far as pro prospects go. I'd probably put it to 2017 or 2018.
I think Dansby Swanson's year was loaded too, but that was a lot of arm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Carson Fulmer was on that Vanderbilt squad too. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one for people that want to see guys that are going to be playing in the bigs in 2 or 3 years, some even shorter than that pitching wise. But yeah, you're gonna get a lot of those guys in the College World Series this year, and I think that's always kind of an interesting way to have the field of 8 with a lot of studs like that.
Okay, Eric. So you said, all right, Wake Forest probably at least how we know college baseball won't be the team that ends up winning. But then you went on to say that usually the hottest team at the time will win. So it's almost,
either Wake or TCU.
Yeah. So they kind of bleed together. So my question for you is this now. Is Wake Forest as heavy of a favorite in this field as their number 1 seed in recent play implies?
Yeah, I would say, because we haven't had a team in Omaha that I can recall. Let me put it that way. And I've been here too many years probably. But no, I don't think we've had a team that has an ERA that is almost 1 full point above everybody else in the country. That's how good this Wake Forest
and play in a small ballpark.
And yeah, exactly. Great point. They play in a bandbox, so you'd figure they'd have a lot of pockmarks against their ERA and their home run totals they've given up. But no, this is a really, really good pitching staff. 2 of the players, Rhett Lauder and Sean Sullivan, were playing for Team USA last year. So pitching, I should say, for Team USA. And when you have 2 guys on the same team that pitch for Team USA, that really says a lot. So yeah, this is a pitching staff that can really just throw some confusion makers at you and make you look silly, and they can really carry this team. So yeah, as a number 1 seed, we always say the number 1 seed, or it seems like the number 1 seed never wins except for Miami in 1999. But this might be the first year that I give a really good chance for the number 1 seed to come out. And as I say that, they've got teams like Stanford and LSU and Tennessee in their bracket, which will be tough enough as it is. But I'll stick with my point that I think this is as good a chance as we have as a number 1 team coming out as the champion.
Eric, Wake Forest 52-10 on the year. Overrated or underrated stat that they are 6-6 when they don't hit a home run?
That's interesting. You probably had to dig a little bit to find a bad stat. I think that's my question to you is I have to dig for it.
I found that. I heard that.
Okay. All right. And you guys know this park that they play in is not exactly really just not conducive to home runs all the time. It depends on which way the wind is coming in, obviously, from if it's coming in from right field, it's going to squash everything. So that happens a lot of times in the College World Series when the weather's warm. So we'll see how it turns out. These teams that we have in the field of 8 this time, they all can just bruise the ball. They can all just fence busters left and right. But let's see how they do with this, with the way the field plays here at the Chuck, as you guys call it. So yeah, that'll be that's one of the interesting side notes I'm kind of looking at, how many home runs will be hit, because these are all 8 teams can really pound the ball. In a park like this, it'll still be hard to get some home runs hit.
So this is interesting because this is all relative to the talk, not necessarily the seedings, right? So I will talk to you about some 2 teams I think are flying under the radar. Stanford has one of the lower odds. They're like 10-1, which I'm like, okay, I get it, but not really. Good team, really good players, especially offensively. Their staff has been resilient. Maybe it's a reflection of the half of the bracket they're in. Then the other team, and I get it, they're top 4 in terms of favorites, but they don't get a lot of run vocally, and that's Florida. Like that's some talented electric arms that can take the bump. And listen, listen, one of the best players here. So it's just interesting. I think those two teams on opposite sides seem to, for lack of a better term, be flying under the radar, kind of.
A little bit, yeah. I would go along
what
with
they are, right?
Right, sure. And I would think that it's a little weird that Florida is, because they're an SEC team, obviously, and last year 2 years ago, they brought in the best recruiting class. Them and UCLA tied for the best recruiting class in the country, and Florida was really banged up last year, but this year that class has come through for them.
And the staff is starting to come together late.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, you're talking about a lot of good arms. Hurston Waldrop, the transfer from Southern Miss, really good. Brandon Sproat, he's going to be a top prospect. These guys are going to light it up in the pros. And in the case of Stanford had a couple of guys that were in their bullpen, had a couple of guys that were preseason All-Americans that just did not pitch to the expectations this year, but they pitched better as of late. I think that's one thing you can look at when you get Joey Dixon pitching as hot as he has been, Drew Dowd. Ryan Bruno still struggling, but and I also had a scout tell me the top 7 in the batting order for Stanford, all of them are going to play professional baseball. Some of them will play in the major leagues, but all of them will be playing for money in the years ahead. So they've got a really dynamic lineup, and I think maybe a lot of it might have to do with teams playing out west. They don't get as much publicity. They play games later in the evening. They just don't get on TV as much because the Pac-12 doesn't have a good TV deal, thanks to their stupid their director that they had for a few years. But this is I think Stanford. You make a great point. Stanford and Florida, two teams a little under the radar, but very capable of winning it all here this week.
On the heels of under the radar, we know LSU has the best prospects. We know Wake Forest has the best team. But if you could label a team out of the other 6 that quote unquote scares you because they're either being left for dead or forgotten about, who would that team be for you?
Virginia.
Well, Virginia's a good choice. I'm going to go with a team. This might be a little biased because I saw them. I covered the Big 12 tournament a couple weeks ago, and they looked really hot. Just TCU, obviously. I think
they're steaming.
Yeah. It's a thing that I think Kirk Solis. This is kind of the team. The way they played lately is kind of the team he was expecting this year, all season long. But they had a real roller coaster season. But kind of like I like to equate them with Oklahoma last year. Oklahoma went to the Big 12 tournament, won it all in 4 straight games, just like TCU did. And, they made it all the way to the championship series. A little, as you kind of called it, a little under the radar. Was that Oklahoma team was kind of a little under the radar as well. So give me TCU. I think they've been hitting. I mean, you go to Arkansas and you beat them 2 times to win a regional. That's really impressive. And they got a little bit of a break at playing at home against Indiana State, but I really think the TCU team's just clicking at the right time.
Johnson's done it with, Arizona. He's back. Sarloos has experience. We know about O'Connor. Esker was here a year ago. When you look at kind of been there, done that, is there too young or too, for lack of a better term, dumb to know any better, an advantage for Oral Roberts?
Oh, I think they can just let it fly. Yeah, to me, it's just like, who cares? They just let it go and play. They might end up playing as the loosest team here. I think the thing we kind of equate this Oral Roberts run with is, the 2 teams that were 4 seeds the last 2 times was Stony Brook in 2012 and 2008 Fresno State. Famously Fresno State. So I can kind of look at Oral Roberts as going either way, because they could either go Kurt Plunk 0 for 2, or they could go all the way to to the finals and win it all. I really think they're as solid as a team, just fundamentally, as you can get out here. In all three phases, pitching, batting, and defense, they all rank in the top 7 statistically. So that's going to win you a lot of games.
And it's a surly bunch. Like, there's no house money, happy to be here. Like, these guys are like, listen, 50 went, like, we're good. And they're not afraid to say we're a good team.
No, not at all. Not at all. And another thing is they've got a lot. They're very heavy on junior, senior guys too. They're older teams, and Coach Fulmar has to love that about them. It's just experience everywhere across the board, and again, just play really good fundamental baseball. Let's see how they do out here. I give them a puncher's chance against anybody in this bracket, just because they've been there. They went to Oklahoma State and won that regional, and then went up to Oregon and beat what I thought was a really good Oregon Ducks team 2 out of 3 up there, and probably shouldn't have lost the game. They just kind of gave that first one away at the end. So yeah, this is an Oral Roberts team that's going to be exciting to watch. But let's just see if they just let it rip, and that'll be their playing card right there.
Oral Roberts TCU, the first game on the list at 1:00 today. Oral Roberts, they've won 23 of their last 24. And then as Rick mentioned, he likes TCU as the team that kind of scares you. But as you look over the rest of the schedule, Eric, and if you look at ticket prices, it's telling you that LSU Tennessee tomorrow night is the matchup.
We went 20 minutes and didn't bring up Tennessee.
Right.
Remember, that team was electric at one point in the preseason, and it was like, oh boy.
And that would be another team that I would factor into the scare you clause because of what they have, on the mound and also what they can do at the plate. But you look at that premier matchup, ticket prices as high as $100 for bleacher seats for this game.
Oh my.
Put it in perspective, Oral Roberts TCU, there's $8 tickets out there. So when you get to see Skeens and you get to see Dolander, and we've talked a little bit about LSU already, so I want you to lean Tennessee here. When you see Tennessee on that side of the bracket, it's going to be very tough for them to move on. But do you like the fact that they have so much depth on the mound that even if they lose, they could be the favorite in the losers bracket?
Oh yeah, there's always a team or two that you look at and that you say, if any team can come back from an 0-1 start, it'll be blank team. And Tennessee's a really prime example. I think you bring up a great point. They're going to have to go up against Paul Skeens. The other thing you kind of have to realize is Tennessee's played this LSU team before. They're not, it's somebody they're very familiar with. So they're not going to be scared. They're going to be wobbly kneed going out there. They were here 2 years ago. Some of those guys are still on the team. But yeah, I mean, in the preseason, everybody had Tennessee ranked number 2 because of their pitching. And kind of like with Stanford, some of that pitching didn't live up to snuff all season long, but they've come along lately. I mean, they've really pitched well, and they put up a lot of zeros against Southern Miss after losing that first game. So this is a Tennessee team. Yeah, they could afford with Dolander going tonight. They could take down LSU. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. But like I said, they're going to be used to seeing this LSU team. That's nothing new to them. But with Drew Beam and Chase Burns, the freshman All-American from last year, they can come back.
Beam would be a number 1 on most teams here, and this team's number 3.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great formula for them to be able to survive a loser's bracket and make it all the way to the championship series. That's a great point you made.
All right, so I'll get you out on this because you're level-headed. So I'm going to ask you about TV as a coach, right? We saw him get the gate and the meltdown 2 years ago with this Tennessee team, grossly underachieved. They couldn't pick it. They kicked it around.
Yeah.
How much of this team do you see in terms of, if you want to act and be like your coach, does he need to be somebody different than he has been, or do they just ride who they hired and gave the big deal to?
Yeah, no, they need to be who they are for sure. And you brought it up. I think that's, they being here already. I mean, yeah, they did kind of a face plant 2 years ago, and then last year didn't even make it when they were the overall heavy favorite to make it to Omaha and win it all. So I think they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder, and not that they needed any bigger of a chip than they already play with. I mean, they play with attitude, like it or not. They kind of play like a WWE team. I mean, that's what Tony V does, man. But yeah, just be themselves. And again, yeah, the experience from 2 years ago is going to help them. And yeah, the way those arms come around, they're not going to need to do a whole lot. We talk about how they're not as good a hitting team as last year. This team still hit 122 home runs, so that's a pretty good mark. I mean, that's one of the best marks of the teams here in the field of 8. So yeah, Tennessee will be another interesting storyline to keep an eye on. And Tony V, I think he's a wily one. I think he's going to have his team ready. And like I said, this is an LSU. They're going to face an LSU team right off the bat that they're used to seeing. So give them a puncher's chance in that one, even though they have to go up against Paul Skeens,
Eric Sorenson, we appreciate you, man. Enjoy the College World Series. We know we will. Look forward to seeing who the eventual champion is. Thanks so much for joining us.
You got it. Thanks for calling me level-headed, guys.
Thanks, E.
That's the national writer and college baseball analyst, Eric Sorenson at @Stitch_head on Twitter. You asked me this to start, and I didn't even repay the favor because what happens whenever you ask me a question, we talk about something completely different. Who is your team to win it all?
I'm
The gong just went off below after that question. No,
because I'm gonna overthink it. Right? Wake Forest is the best team here. I in this weird way, I think Virginia gets it done.
See, like I told you yesterday, they give me championship vibes. I don't know what it is about this team. I mean, I watched them. They were taking photos outside the stadium yesterday, and they had a kid that looks
because the bus pulled up at the same time.
And that's why I couldn't park my car where I wanted to park my car. They had a guy that walked off that bus, and you would have thought that the skies opened up, a beam of light came down, there was a rainbow in the background, Prince Charming on his white horse. He's got this long blonde hair, and I'm like, okay, you at Virginia? Like, you seem like somebody that should be on a beach in Florida right now.
I'm telling you, they win tonight, they'll be representing their half the bracket.
Virginia, next to LSU, who's had a really good core in the bullpen.
About LSU bugs me.
Just their bullpen is what I'm referring to there. The bullpen of Tennessee and the bullpen of Virginia, they may have the best bullpen here at the CWS. They may. They have 5 guys that they can rely on. They also are the number 1 team in the nation in batting average. We know that Chuck doesn't cater to hitting home runs all too
Although
often.
it's been a little more forgiving the last couple of years.
It has, but when you can hit for average, if you can get guys on base, which is what Virginia does, and they can knock guys in
they remind
with
me a
balls in
lot
the gap.
They remind me a lot of Stanford in that regard. I'm going back to something because I'm a huge fan. Coach Service said something last week. He was talking to, I think maybe it's Channel 7 or somebody. I just
happened to see it when you were scrolling.
Yeah, I just like Service, right? So I'm listening, and he intimated that with this field here, he thinks it will be more offensive than the experts think in this ballpark. Just watching what he's seen over the course of this college baseball season, and he knows how this ballpark plays.
Well, he plays here more than anybody else.
It's been a lot more forgiving than its reputation.
Wyatt Langford and Jack Caglianone, who you brought up earlier. Caglianone, for those that want to know, he's probably the Shohei Ohtani of college baseball. Yeah. This dude, he is a stud on the rubber and can rake. Let me tell you this. He holds the program record for home runs hit in a single season, and he's their top pitcher at 7-3 with a 3.78 ERA. Pair that with Wyatt Langford over at first, who will be a top 5 pick in the draft, probably number 3.
It's a big baseball team, too.
He would be the number 1 pick if Cruz and Skeens weren't in this draft. He's a 5-tool player, and if you actually look at what he looks like physically, don't look at his style of play, but he looks like Alex Bregman.
He's just the whole team, just like their frame, their build. It's a good-looking baseball team.
My buddy, when he came in yesterday, I wanted to Cam, you give me the 4-minute mark, right?
No, we're less than that.
I want to ask you this. I just want to challenge you for a second. Okay. There's 6 teams that share a name with another professional team. You look at mascots across professional sports teams. 6 teams share a name with another team. Can you tell me who the 6 mascots are that share names with other teams?
The Cardinal.
There's one. I think that's the hardest one. So nice work there.
The Tigers. That's easy, right?
No, just Detroit.
Really? So I only have if it's
just
not
the Cardinals, 5 more that share a name.
I'm going to do them.
Let's
try to get wrong answers because then it's the other 6. So we know the Tigers are out, and then how about?
This team was in the news over the last week. They played in a final of some sort.
Get up, baby.
Oh, Florida?
Panthers. Yep. Coach Rule. Shout out.
Give them to me.
The Rangers. Your boys.
Okay.
You have...
That's a good baseball team.
You have one that's a football team and a hockey team.
Pros?
The hockey team's up in Canada.
Flames, the Leafs, the Canadians. Who else is up there?
People dread going to this town.
Oh, Ottawa Senators.
The next one, next to that one.
Whatever the hell it
The
is.
other team that you didn't name in Canada. Winnipeg.
Oh,
Jets. The Jets.
That is so. It's good. There's good fishing there,
Right.
and it's close to the border.
The Giants are another team. New York Giants,
Yeah.
San Francisco Giants, and then this last team. Both teams are in California.
Kings.
The Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those 6 teams share a name with another team.
And I
There's
got
only 6
Stanford
of
out
them.
of the gates.
Well, yeah. I mean, you went St. Louis and Arizona. Nice work.
I'm trying.
Good on you.
Not just another ugly face, you know.
I thought that could be a nice little challenge today because I like to challenge DB.
I know, man.
And you know what always comes on a day like today? Trivia
Oh, boy.
against DB. It's going to be Cam versus DB today.
Cam,
How about that?
Cam, bam.
Let's go.
Bam, bam, bam.
And I'll give you a clue.
What?
They're all CWS based.
Oh, fudge. I'm screwed.
I will say this.
Cam, best wishes to you.
I will say this. I think they're fairly easy when I put them together. It's not like, hey, who won the College World Series in 2001?
Oh, dude, because that
Okay.
sucks.
Because that's the only one you know, right?
Yeah.
So when we come back, we'll do dog eat dog, DB versus Cam. Let's see who knows more about the College World Series. We'll end things with Mike Miller here at Let It Fly as we are live from Let It Fly. Stick around.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
About 20 seconds.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
As you can see, DB is not next to me, but you will hear the voice of God, a.k.a. Cam, off in the distance.
I can just jump in.
Look at you.
Look at me. I'm on the show, man.
There he is.
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to have like the man behind the curtain.
No, I'm just the intro voice guy,
Yeah,
so I'm just there now. Now I'm just here live.
Yeah, we need an intro for Dog Eat Dog now.
Yeah, we do.
Can you think of one on the fly?
Shane, write that up.
Fly.
Yeah.
Think of one on the
Let's
fly.
let it fly. Trivia for the masses. It's Dog Eat Dog. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
that's
for
cool.
it. That's sweet.
I mean, I usually rely on everybody else to write my bits, so that's the deal.
I like it. You know what?
Trivia for the masses.
You fit the environment that we're in. So nice work there, Cam Broham, everybody. Now, if you felt dinged up about that intro, you can head over to Dingman's and maybe take your car over there, not for your personal injury. I'll tell you about where you can go for that in a moment. But when you go to Dingman's, you will get the best service and the best work done on your vehicle. I haven't had to go there yet for damages, but guys, I got a story. I hit deer all the time. In the Midwest, we have deer. I totaled a car one time by hitting deer. I hit 3 deer from Sioux City to Omaha in that span of
in
road.
One drive?
Not in one drive, just in but I wish it was one drive.
Yeah.
One drive would be better than 3 different accidents. But if I had the choice, I would take my car over to Dingman's because they are just right there. People. I care about customer service. I know you do too, and I wouldn't stick my neck out for somebody if I didn't believe it. Take your car over to Dingman's Collision Center. Now, if you do deal with any type of personal injury, like I was saying there, what's that, Shane?
By the way, I'd take my car over the Dingman's anytime.
Well, we know you would. So does everybody else over at Dingman's, and that's why Darcy's never there, Shane. But no, if you feel personal injury at any time, if you've been hurt in an accident, you can count on the Dyer Law team to provide you with a helping hand when you need it, no matter what you're dealing with. Dyer Law, 402-393-7529, Dyer.law to chat with trusted professionals about your personal injury claim. That's DYER.law. You feel good?
Ooh, yeah.
You ready?
That funky bass line.
That's what we do for games.
Let's do it.
Shane's got us hooked up. Cam, your first question, you get answer choices. DB does not. These are all CWS based. Question number 1. Cam, who has won the most College World Series out of the 8 teams remaining? LSU, Florida, or Virginia?
I'll say Virginia. No, Florida. I'll say Florida.
Which one do you want?
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Question number 2. Which of the 8 teams had to travel exactly 18 hours to get to Omaha? Is it TCU, Florida, or Virginia?
It wouldn't be 2 in a row, would it? I can't say Florida again, can I? I'll say Florida again. Florida for that one as well. That means I'm wrong on one of them.
Do you know geography? What if you're wrong on both of them?
That's it. Texas, Virginia, or Florida, right?
Well, it was TCU, Virginia, or Florida.
Right. So I think Florida is the farthest.
It may not be the farthest, just 18 hours.
I know, but I think that.
Okay, you think that's 18 hours?
I think that's 18 hours.
Okay, I'm not trying to talk you out of an answer.
Did they go by bus? I don't know.
They did bus. I'm just going off of Google Maps. And question number 3: which of the 8 teams has experienced the longest College World Series appearance drought?
Florida. Just kidding.
Is it Oral Roberts, Wake Forest, or TCU?
I'll say Oral Roberts.
And your tiebreaker question: when was the last time Oral Roberts made an appearance in the College World Series? Just the closest to the date. Yeah. You don't have to say like May, whatever.
Yeah. I think it would probably be in June, but
who knows?
97.
Thank you. Let's bring in
on,
DB. He's ready to go. He's looking up all the questions on his phone right now. He could hear us out there. He goes, I wish I was. You feel confident in Cam's abilities to take you down?
Depends on how much he helped him. My free safety. One of my safeties.
No way. Did you say hi?
Yeah. He's like, what's up, coach? I was like, Finn, I need you to be the man so these guys can flip over and play offense.
Yeah, did you say,
he's
hey?
Like, coach, you see my muscles? He's a great kid.
Did you say, hey, can you intercept a drink for us after the show?
So Finn again, begin again. He is such a good dude.
All right, DB, you ready to go?
All right, let's ride. I'm not super confident.
Who's won the most College World Series out of the 8 teams remaining? Question number 2. Which of the 8 teams had to travel exactly 18 hours to get to Omaha?
Oh, that's good.
Florida.
And question number 3. Which of the 8 teams has experienced the longest College World Series appearance drought?
The easy answer would be Oral Roberts, right? Could you ask me a question that simple?
You do have a Hail Mary.
You're going to get – okay. I'll take the Hail Mary.
Throw it up.
Hey, is the answer Oral Roberts, Wake Forest, or TCU?
He's looking at me like,
is
for
there
an answer.
a trick question? It's got to be Oral Roberts.
And the tiebreaker question: when was the last time Oral Roberts made an appearance in the College World
gosh!
Series?
If I don't know that, 71.
Thank you, DB. All right, let's go through the answers. How do you feel, DB?
Not good.
Cam, how do you feel?
Worse, but at least we had a couple matching answers. So,
all right, let's go through the answers. Question number 1: who out of the 8 remaining teams has won the most College World Series? Is it LSU, Florida, or Virginia? Cam, you said Florida.
I said Florida.
DB, you said Stanford. Not on that list.
Yeah,
it is LSU.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So neither. You guys are still even.
I should have known Lyle Mouton hitting bombs for LSU in the 90s.
Guys, which of the 8 teams had to travel exactly 18 hours to get to Omaha? Is it TCU, Florida, or Virginia? You both said Florida. Mm-hmm. You both are incorrect.
Yeah, it's like 26 hours.
Oh, it's 22.
No, it's only about 20 hours.
Okay.
It is 18 exact from Virginia.
Great. Charlottesville is only 18 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I may get the collar cam down.
And we are still tied at a whopping 0.
Crushing it.
Question number 3. Thanks, Shane. Which of the 8 teams has experienced the longest College World Series appearance drought? Is it Oral Roberts, Wake Forest, or TCU? You both said Oral Roberts. You both are incorrect.
Yeah, I knew it was a trick question. It had to be Wake.
It is Wake Forest.
Yeah, really? And it was too easy to say Oral Roberts. And
Wake
I talked
Forest
myself out
has
of it.
not been in since 1955, which is crazy.
Gosh, I need the tiebreaker.
And the tiebreaker question, which it all comes down to. When was the last time Oral Roberts made an appearance in the College World Series?
Are we talking who's closest now?
Closest.
Because we're very different.
This is great. I may lose to a guy that barely likes sports.
Especially baseball. Not my cup of tea.
Cam, you said 1997.
I did.
DB, you said
I'm
1971. The answer, Shane, you got that drum roll?
I've got it. It's right.
I've got it.
The answer, 1978. DB, closest to. He escapes.
Man.
Wow.
Like a bad baseball game, you win 1-0 in the 9th when you're the better team. It happens. You did it. Congratulations.
Much like not taking Wyndham Clark and Ricky Fowler like I wanted to, I knew it wasn't Oral Roberts.
And you just had a tough week, and you talked yourself into an answer you knew was wrong.
I said it's got to be a trick question because the easy answer would be Oral Roberts. There's no way you're going to do that.
When I gave Cam the answer choices and the first 2 questions basically matched an answer choices, he goes, wait a second, you wouldn't put Florida twice. I mean, I have to be right in one of these. And he was wrong in both.
Wrong in every single one of those.
That was kind of hard.
Yeah, I tried because I knew College World Series would be difficult. I wanted to base everything off of the 8 teams here, though, so that it limited answer choices.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know if I would have got – I knew LSU. I thought that one was going to be easy.
I thought it was Stanford. But you know,
they only have 2 actually.
So this is the level of confusion. It's not Palo Alto that has all the championships. It's Los Angeles. USC.
Mm-hmm. USC is like 14
is
or
the
something
Pac-12
like that.
team that went on the run, and for some reason, how my brain works or doesn't.
College World Series can and will get difficult. Hey, don't give me any picks for the College World Series because I'm going to go. Actually, give me your picks so I can fade them.
Yeah, kind of like
that's kind of your week.
Following my own weeks with. I'm still mad over Clark and Fowler.
It'll haunt you till Sunday.
I need
Monday.
the gala to like really start swinging.
Yeah, if he shoots like 5 under over the next 2 days, you're going to be like, okay.
How about my first question on Monday when I was like, yeah, Wyndham Clark, I mean, plus 450 for top 10 finish. He's going to play well.
Mike Miller up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
About 20 seconds. Mike is supposed to be there on site.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
And all smiles on a Friday.
Yep.
9:44 a.m. The timestamp. No Mike Miller yet, but if he does make his way up here, we will make sure to slide him on in. Which now I'm thinking about with Mike. Are you sure? Like, it's not like a phone call? Because, like, where would his headset be? Do I have to leave if he comes and it's just you two?
I definitely would bounce.
I just would watch. So I did figure out what the smoke smell that we were smelling.
Ooh.
They have a ridiculous amount, I'm not going to say the price, piece of equipment for their in-house smoker.
In-house?
And it is in the kitchen. It is in the kitchen.
I wouldn't mind working in that kitchen.
It is a cheaper version of a Range Rover price.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, what is that hickory smell, the smoke? I'm like, is that outside? He goes,
you ever been in our kitchen?
Did you go down there?
No, I didn't have time. But I'll get a quick tour.
I may peek in there too with you.
So they're doing brunch and a College World Series menu that starts at 10. So I think they have like a breakfast pizza and they're doing a brisket. And so they're you know what they're smoking right now?
That brisket?
And short ribs. For the short rib quesadillas. All right. So I don't know if it's going to taste like that, but the smoke smell is unbelievable. Much like you've walked into places where I told you about a place, it's the general vicinity of us, and I should have been alarmed when I didn't see or smell any smoke.
Right.
Kind of knew I was in trouble.
Yeah.
But people have told me in the past, like sometimes when you have the right piping and ventilation system, sometimes those smokers that they have in the back kitchen, you don't sometimes smell the smoke, but the smokers are still working.
It's like a local barbecue joint inside. Like if you went to, there's a place in Lamar's, Iowa,
Home of Wells Blue Bunny.
Home of Wells, yes, correct.
One of my bosses was from.
They have a really good local barbecue joint there, and they have a great outdoor patio with a long smoker, like from wall to wall in here. And if you sit on the patio, it's like you're in the aroma of what we smell inside this building. And that's what that vibe gives me. Like I'm at an outdoor, small town, local barbecue joint, but I'm inside and I get the same smells. I get the better views. Let It Fly's it's a place to be today.
This is probably a better question for Barry, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So, my coach,
It sounds like a question I would ask. Like this would be a question for Caleb, but I'm going to ask you.
No, this is a total Barry question. But so my coach passed away about a month ago, right?
Right.
And he had a lot of cooking toys. A couple of eggs. He had the big egg, the little egg. He had a couple of ovens. He had a hot box. He had a lot of smoking equipment. And he had an estate sale. I felt awkward wanting to purchase his old things. Is that faux pas? Are you sure?
Yeah, because
you haven't been around enough.
But I almost wonder if he would want you to have those things.
Yeah, it just felt a little awkward.
And I get that.
Right?
I wish you would have told me because I would have taken an egg.
Well, he had it. Listen, I'm not even doing it justice. There were probably at least 9 cooking devices on his back deck. I'm not even counting like
my dad wants a smoker. He's got a grill. He's very low key with what like he can do anything with a grill. Like that's kind of his like persona. And then when we got him a griddle, he's like, "Oh, this Blackstone is sweet. Like I can do, breakfast. I can do smash burgers." So he loves his Blackstone too. He would really benefit of having a smoker. He's always wanted one, but they're just so expensive. And he's practical, as you know.
Yeah. I could see that.
If I can do something on a grill that I could do in a smoker, why do I need a smoker?
So I was like, again, why we're kindred spirits. I was like that for years. Matter of fact, I kept my Traeger and didn't get the drum because I could do what I wanted to do. I could pyramid, I could snake stack in my Weber. I could use wood and get basically the same effect. Now I couldn't control the temp as well, but as long as I kept charcoal hot, I felt like, oh, I could manage this deal. I probably was like that for 10 years before I got a smoker.
Wow.
And that's why I didn't want to get rid of my kettle because I'm like,
and that makes sense.
I know I can do this right. I don't know about these other new tools.
Like, why do I need to spend $1,000 when I can just
but when
this?
my buddy in Council Bluffs, his drum became available for an extraordinarily cheap price because he has all the toys. He's got a drum, he's got a master built, he's got everything. And so he's like, hey, my buddy just painted this and he's giving it away on the cheap. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And so that's why I got it.
That's cool.
I normally wouldn't invest because I would just try to. Now, I will say in the kettle, like if he's doing like a 15-hour brisket, very, very difficult to pull off on a Weber grill.
You know what you need?
No big deal.
A life cooler.
A pardon?
Like a meat cooler, like a big cooler.
Like once I wrap it to put it in.
Yeah. You need something like that.
Can
like
I use like an igloo?
A deep freeze could work.
I have a deep freeze.
Yeah. But like after he's done cooking it, kind of like when John came in and gave you that bacon, like already done. I'm sure you had to store some of that too, like just a place to put that.
So you grab those steaks out of my garage freezer? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, because that's all that. None of that is a fridge. That's all freezer.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, there's a guy I know in town, and he got this huge meat cooler for cheap. It was.
I look a lot.
He got it from an old restaurant.
Yeah, that's what people tell me.
And he got it so cheap that he ended up using it, and then he didn't need it anymore. Sold it for triple the price he bought it for.
Real, yeah. So they're hard to get.
Yeah.
My OC at Westside is looking for a freezer.
Man, I could use one. I need a deep freeze. Like that's where I need to start.
On our coaching text chain, like. We're always looking for one another.
How much does a normal deep freeze cost you? Just to store frozen meat?
Depends. Like you're looking for the ones items, like the waist size, the cubic feet.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be as big as a table, but take half.
You're
gonna
pay a couple $100.
That's not bad.
No, the one I got one from the Mart a couple years ago. But you know what I got tired of doing? Digging deep down in there. Because you have to stack.
Yeah.
So
did you ever find things that have just been in there for way too long?
No, that would be my mom. It's very disappointing. It's very, very. We've tightened that up though the last couple of years. Like, wow, this is from 2019. Are you still gonna eat these ribs? I'm not kidding either. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah. Do they have like frostbite on them?
No, it wasn't too bad, right? So she ended up getting a new one, but that's the problem with a
freezer burn frostbite.
like those. What's the difference, Cam? Not the freezer that's upright, but the ones that you put things in. Don't get those if you can.
Yeah, that's the deep freeze.
Yeah, don't do those because you have to reach in there and sort through it. Like it's just not as user friendly.
Question, because we got this question back at 7:30. We were talking about placing money on college baseball teams, and Ken asked. I'm going to bring this back to sports so we can close out the day with some sports. What's the over/under on the percentage of sports broadcasters that bet on sports? He said, I'd set it at 90%. Do you think it's over or under that? I think it's under to play safe.
That's a big number, but I get his point.
I could say like 60%,
especially
and
now that
all
the letter networks can talk about it so freely. I mean,
that's not frowned upon.
No. So,
and we aren't connected to a team, so we don't have to worry about like, hey, if we were a communications director at Nebraska, we couldn't bet on any college sport.
I'm sure Ken is looking at you sideways when you tell him you had a 8-leg hit parlay.
No one's looking at me sideways. They're like, man, I wish I was you.
If they knew some of your hockey ones that we talk about, those are hilarious.
Those are wild.
And I like how you just punch in numbers for the most minuscule value. Hey, what's my biggest return on $5? What's my biggest return on $10? It's just like, you're weird.
I am. I'm wired differently.
Who's piecing this together?
How about that one bet I had? A couple of months ago, I did that 4 goal scorer parlay. But then what I do is I pair 2 and 2, and then I pair the 4 together, and then both of the 2s hit. So obviously the 4 hits, and I took home like $700 on $30, DB.
Nobody can do that.
Exactly, Shane. Can you imagine this dude losing his mind at Hail Varsity Club every time we're out?
Like, what the?
This dude's probably vaping inside. Nobody's reprimanding him. He's probably
he doesn't have to
burning in there.
He's throwing a party.
That's cracked open a beer. He's just living his best life.
Shane, what's your flavor of the day?
It is a blueberry.
It's a blueberry.
Yeah, blueberry pancake.
Is that really what it is? Blueberry pancake?
I would guess that's about right. Shane, you like the strawberry one too, right?
Yeah, strawberry's pretty good. I'm kind of bouncing around right now, back and forth between the two. I got my feet kicked up here on the table, and I'm kind of.
Why don't you sound confident in any sort of answer? Like you're the one that's
even if he told you his age.
I just asked about your flavor, and you're like and you work your way to your flavor.
We simply can't do that at this time.
Right, Trev. I appreciate it. Good talk.
Oh man, honest question along the same lines. What is better about a Blackstone versus cast iron on the grill? From Daniel.
There isn't really. I think they're interchangeable. The Blackstone you can do in bulk. The chicken that I did for the shredded tacos the other day, I did in a cast iron. This is fantastic. Blackstone obviously gives you a lot. You can do a lot more bulk stuff.
Can I have some of that chicken?
Yeah. I don't know. Caleb put it on his burger yesterday. I'm like, what a weirdo.
Chicken on a burger?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you vape that?
No.
It could be a flavor.
Shane, I thought you'd gravitated towards apple pie. You're not doing the apple pie vape anymore?
That went really fast. I mean, that was kind of in and out. I mean, I really had that quickly.
He was outside vaping for 30 minutes after the show. Like, man, I love me some apple pie.
We're not there to
and
stress him out, though.
I love me some of this show.
You know, he couldn't turn on the TVs either. He's probably traumatized.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. We'll be back on Monday. We'll also be downtown next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Enjoy the College World Series.
Clear.